folks, we are moving forward in the playoffs here in the Call of Duty Varsity League. Now moving on into the winners semifinals, and it is getting spicy inside of this playoff bracket. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is McCornmeal, joining me in the winners semifinals. Corn, welcome to the NACE stream. How you feeling, buddy?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Seymour, but more importantly, we've got bangers on bangers on bangers tonight,
yes,
specifically between the first two teams, St. Clair and Davenport. Again, Davenport comes in on a hot streak more than anything else. St. Clair, first time we get to see them in the playoffs, and of course, that goes hand in hand with the match we'll see later between the best two teams in collegiate Call of Duty.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited to see it 100%. But before we jump in with the schedule, Corn, I want to take a look right now at the bracket. Well, not so much as the bracket, but at what these teams are playing for inside of the bracket, because this prize pool in the playoffs, it's not a small chunk of cash. We're playing for $8,000, split between the top four teams. Talk to me about it. What are the teams looking at right now for top four?
I mean, first and foremost, if you're going to place top four, we'll start with the lowest. We'll go to the high, 800 for fourth place. If you get to top three, well, that prize match in the lower funnels will be a $2,000 match, with 1,200 being gone to the third place team, 2,000 to the second place team. And well, if you win it all, $4,000 for you and your friends. That's $1,000 split evenly if you want to go amongst the team. So, Colin, it's one of those things where I wish I was playing for that amount of money. Unfortunately, I'm not, but at least I get to watch them play for the money. So yeah,
what? We're casters, it's what we get. We just get to sit back and enjoy the show and, maybe have a little bit of fun when talking about the show as well. So
sure,
it's going to be exciting. But let's look at the schedule, because Wednesday we saw nothing but 3-0s on stream, and it was Davenport and Bay State that made that run. Now, both teams coming into the schedule here on Friday, winner semifinal, Davenport University, the Panthers, going up against St. Clair College Saints. And our match number 2 on stream, you got Bay State Bulldogs versus the Northwood Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, overall, again, we can talk about the Davenport and St. Clair matchup as kind of an exclamation mark to start things off. Again, specifically with how Davenport have been able to demonstrate and, more importantly, move throughout their run so far here in the NACE playoffs. But again, we can talk about that a little bit more in depth in just a moment. But really, kind of where I have my eyes set on in the prize match of the night, Bay State, Northwood University. Again, the top two teams in the collegiate Call of Duty. We'll save more and put that on the burner for the side. But for now, let's just talk about Davenport and St. Clair. More, because here's the thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
This match is basically framed up as you're going to have to go against one or two Titans, depending on if you win this. So, if you win it, great. You secured yourself top three. You're guaranteed at least $1,200. But you're going to have to go up against either Northwood or Bay State. I mean, and I wouldn't want to go up against either of them, but that's just me.
I mean, eyes are down to the grindstone right now for both of these teams. You're just taking it one step at a time. You know what's ahead of you. Eventually you're going to have to play one of the Titans. So, just take it as it is. Just work on what's in front of you. And for both of these two teams, I mean, this is not going to be an easy match. Both coming out, of similar divisions throughout collegiate Call of Duty. And, they have met each other before. So let's take a look at our series matchup here in series number 1 with the Davenport Panthers versus the St. Clair Saints. And Corn, like you said, I mean, this is an interesting one because you got Davenport University on a hot streak right now, haven't dropped a map in the playoffs, and St. Clair College, this is their first match in the playoffs.
Well, it's interesting, too, because there's history between these teams as well in collegiate Call of Duty. Obviously, the 4th and the 9th seed, it can be misleading at times, specifically when we talk about how these teams have stacked up previously against one another. It was actually Davenport who took that series 3-1 over St. Clair beforehand, so that precedence leaves us with question marks on this series. How have St. Clair been able to not only improve upon what they have built for themselves, but what adjustments can they make against a team like Davenport? We have keys to success we'll hit on a little bit later on, but I mean, overall, just speaking from a general standpoint, you'd have to, in the back of your mind, at least favor Davenport early on, specifically because of the pretense that we have between these teams and how good they've looked inside of their run so far.
I mean, St. Clair coming off cold, they're definitely going to have to step up to the plate against this Davenport roster. But the one thing that we really note on for Saints are the adjustments that we need to see out of them. And, through the start of Vanguard, Corn, I know you and I are going to be really familiar with this. St. Clair, they haven't looked the best, whether it's, the Call of Duty Varsity League or if it's the CCL. In both leagues, they've had quite a stumble at the start of Vanguard. And this is where they're bringing it up. They're finding themselves in the winner's semifinal. and you want to make sure you're able to kind of jump over the hurdle that is Davenport Panthers, because you fell to them once before. I mean, it's the big story here, and you want to make sure those adjustments are good. And I mean, you made it this far. You are in the winter semifinals, so this is where you can really prove yourself if you're the St. Clair Saints, that you have made those adjustments, that you have changed things up. And really, when it comes down to it, a lot of it's going to boil down to the vetoes. When we're talking about keys to success, we could take a look at the map set that we have. The vetoes are going to be everything for the St. Clair Saints. You look at Davenport's history, a fantastic Tuscan team, a fantastic Gavitu team, and automatically you look at this like St. Clair, you want to veto out those Tuscan search and destroys, and they did. We get a Bocause search in map number 2 and a Berlin search and destroy in map 5.
Yeah, and I mean, specifically before we came into the broadcast, you and I went back and forth about some of the things we want to see from just specific vetoes. And again, you hit on it already, but again, that Tuscan S&D not being there in maps 2 or 5 is kind of the big hard hitter for this out of St. Clair. On the other side, though, if you're Davenport, you know, not having your strong suits of Gavutu for either your hard point or your control for that big swing map 3, that could prove to be a bit of a shaky run here, because here's the thing, right? You know, if you're a team that prefers to play, say, a Tuscan or a Gavutu on map 1, that can really define your series and how you're going to go throughout it, because all these maps in Vanguard, yeah, sure, they can play somewhat similar, and you know what you're going to get out of most teams on each map, but when you go to a shorter range map that might favor St. Clair's a bit better than it does of Davenport's ARs, that could spell trouble early on, and you don't want to go down 0-2 to a St. Clair's team that could capitalize on a map number 3, much less, though, on the opposite side. When you flip that around, St. Clair's does not want to go down 0-2 going into a Tuscan control.
Well, really kind of going toe-to-toe with those ARs for Davenport, you look to St. Clair's roster at kind of eyeing up Priestley and Brandon, looking if St. Clair can really enable those two SMGs for kind of picking up the pace and really putting the pressure onto Davenport. You're going to see success inside of the St. Clair team. I mean, you know, back to Modern Warfare, Cold War, the name of St. Clair was really shined on by Priestley and Sauce and the way that they're able to work around the map. And if those two can really kind of narrow it down and help Brandon shine on the map, you know, sometimes that can be the bane of St. Clair's existence and the bane of their run inside of Call of Duty. If they can get comfortable, you know, as a full squad, you know, really enable each other through the map, I can see success here from St. Clair. I mean, we highlighted already that they have gone toe-to-toe with Davenport. They lost, but they went toe-to-toe, and a big map that's showing up now in the map set that we have, and it was in the map set prior to this as well when they did lose, is a Tuscan hardpoint. St. Clair won that Tuscan hardpoint 250 to 205, and the fact that it's showing up inside this series as well, it's a fantastic place to start if you're St. Clair Saints.
Yeah, and, you know, on the topic of St. Clair, you know, we've said some negatives and positives about both teams, but one positive for St. Clair that I really want to hit on here is the fact that earlier on, for CCL specifically, they had started the season off pretty poor. Obviously here in NACE, they're undefeated overall in terms of overall record in the regular season, but more importantly, when it came to the CCL, they started abysmal, and maybe that's a harsh word in a sense, but comparatively to the top teams, they started off really poor against some of those top teams, Davenport being one of them. So ever since then, Stage 2 came around, they are undefeated in Tier 2, so they're a lock basically to at least make that LCQ, maybe for playoffs, but it just shows the adjustments and more importantly, the improvements that they've been able to put week in and week out, and that leads them here to where now they have the grudge match. Then go ahead, maybe one up the side of Davenport for the first time this season.
Well, Corey, we talk a lot about St. Clair and the fact that they're going to have to win this map number 1 versus Davenport. Let's hop into it. Let's see if they got what it takes already to a little bit of a slow start, letting Davenport get a quick 10 on the count for kill number 1. But you're looking at player number 8, Gorilla, working his magic, trying to set up a flank here to get in behind Davenport, see if he can pull these spawns away, and it's shut down by Sheldon. 3 go down for the Saints, and this is not the start that you want.
A little start there for Davenport. St. Clair, unfortunately, don't have any sort of map presence or pressure over towards that right side. So your best move here is maybe to play the scrap time, start pushing through that north portion of the map, and then force yourself in hand of the rotation. But Anthrax is going to be left at the point. Should be able to clean up, and that's going to be all 5 seconds of scrap for the side of Davenport and the ski rotation. So as we start to rotate on over towards E2, Sheldon will lose a one-on-one in towards the front. That should give St. Clair at least a little bit of control of the radio side.
3 players searching on forward through patio. Nice shots from Priestley. Sauce looking to clean up inside Bugs, and it's Anthrax to snap on him. So a little bit mixy getting over to P2. Not as clean as St. Clair hoped. Alex, and you're going to be looking now to select this early time here because you have Davenport in shambles, really spread out. A lot of one-on-ones going to be going down here in St. Clair. They definitely can kind of manage to pull this one out, but you can see inside the feed and inside the hill, it's nothing but the Panthers walking away with these kills.
One-on-one gunfights have been the bane of existence for St. Clair thus far.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, team kills obviously don't help. But with 20 seconds left, we'll start thinking about the rotation. St. Clair, you know, you had a couple players pushed out and towards the middle. Unfortunately, you start heading in towards the church. What that forces is Davenport to spawn over towards that left side of the map, and now St. Clair's is going to be forced in hand once again to push through the belly of the beast for those rotations when they could have just said, screw it, we'll give up those 20 seconds of time and get over towards that next one.
This is not what I was expecting, Alex. You know, only 4 points for Saints after 2 hills. They are going to have the early rotations here to P3, so this can be where they can grab a big chunk of time. But look at the setup for the Panthers. They're looking to break right from the front. You have player number 1, Gecko, hoping to sneak through the back line here in a big 1-on-1 versus Gorilla. 3 go down for Davenport simultaneously. The Saints hold on.
6 in a row, though, from Gorilla. So you'll look for one more kill to find the glide bomb to go on top of it. Utility in the back pocket of St. Clair. You know, as I said beforehand, it was kind of a lucky break there for St. Clair to be able to get in towards the back. Could have been game saving potentially here early on. Yeah, sure, it's early, but at the same time, you were risking maybe going down over 100 points within the first 3 hard points on Tuscan, which never bodes well for a late game comeback. So as St. Clair will hold on for the last 22 seconds of time, Sheldon looks to make a solo play all the way towards the back, but Gorilla will snip that out and shut it down. We'll look over towards P4, back over by the church. It's all the blue arrows yet again rotated and ready for the next hill.
A notably strong hill for Saints to get back into this game, only down 30 or down 20 going into this Churchill. Early setup here from Davenport, player number 6 from Brandon on the Saints. Only player there to really mix things up, see if he can pull things away. And he is being a little bit sneaky, but not sneaky enough. Will be shut down from north. 53 seconds, the Churchill is open. Saints, they now need to fight from the front.
Let's also slide in 2 and 10. Not a great performance here early on inside of map 1, but you turn that around a bit and you'll be good to go. However, Brandon, last one alive. Sheldon and Anthrax will go ahead and pair forward. So that's a clean sweeping break with 20 seconds off the clock. Davenport should be able to go ahead and hold here for the last 40 seconds. Out the back, North is going to be able to pick up 1. Anthrax is there for another. And this has just kind of been the tale of one side for Davenport. Every single time St. Clair has a 1-up on them, it just flips back in their favor somehow, some way. It even happened over by P3 where, yeah, they might have rotated, but they didn't even really get that much time for it. They got like 30 seconds in total.
30 seconds definitely not enough. To cut this lead that the Panthers have accumulated, you need this time if you're Saints going into the Hill 5. I mean, you can gain a good chunk here, and you're going to want it. You can't go down into the second rotation, giving up a lot in P5. But Anthrax full streaks on 9 in a row. I didn't even see 9 in a row coming out from Anthrax with a little bit under the radar, and that is going to pay off going into the second set of rotations. So paying attention now to Panthers in control of Hill 5 and walking away with the gunfights here. It's going to be a 3-on-3 even inside the hill.
Sheldon laying down. Up the staircase comes Sauce, looking to break on in here for St. Clair. Nate gonna get cooked, unfortunately won't be able to find all that much. It's Sheldon who goes ahead and pops for 2. Now on 4 in a row. Gorilla on the staircase, then we'll cut that down and find another as well. So, 3 kills go to the way of St. Clair. Davenport, sure, you get a little bit of a trade. Anthrax tries to come in for the time, but with 25 seconds left, Seymour, this is really, you want to start to chalk this one up, get back over towards P1, set up for that second set of rotations. If you're St. Clair, you're happy right now because you should be able to get to about 75 points on the board, but okay, man. Sheldon's just going to go ahead and challenge for everything on the scrap. So scrap everything that I just said. We're back to square one where St. Clair's on the outside looking.
It's a big moment from Sheldon, a 1-on-2, and he walks away with the scrap time. Now heading into the second set of rotations, this is where I was highlighting Anthrax with those streaks. And you already see Glide Bomb being invested, hoping to put St. Clair back in their spawn. Set up a spawn trap here for the Panthers. Sauce, the only one here to make something happen. Finds 2, but it's just not enough. You see Saints now on the back rope, on their back foot, trying to get some semblance of control into the map. And that's going to be a good start here. Parisi finds 2 on the front line to open things up, but St. Clair, they really need to follow through with this now.
Brandon looking to the middle. Sheldon in the hill. Contest still there. Draining game clock. 160 to 62. Davenport with a 100-point lead over the side of St. Clair now. Right now, you're just trying to go ahead and extend that as far as you possibly can as we get over towards P2, where historically, from the first set of rotations, Seymour, it was St. Clair who was not able to even get a touch over on P2. It was all Davenport in the very early stages of the game. Point number 1 through 3 won their favor until St. Clair got a lucky break when we headed over towards P3. And I don't use the word lucky lightly most of the time, Colin. It's just the fact that it was a very, I don't want to say boneheaded play, but a very misinformed, uneducated play that forced their hand of having to break that back.
And Alex, I mean, a big thing there for St. Clair, like off of that whole play is, I mean, you still walk away with a good chunk of time and get rid of the glide bomb in Anthrax's hand. So you're down a lot, a whole 100 points. But if you can bring the things back, you don't have to worry about that streak anymore. Brandon, some unlucky timing. Anthrax dancing around the pillar. Look at his teammates as well. All 4 go down. St. Clair spawning up top north side of Church. And they have to traverse so far through this map just to get onto the hill.
Look at the back. North trying to hold it down. 4 in a row. Trying to make it number 5. Brandon around the corner. That's a difficult gunfight to win against an automaton at range. Another one all the way up in towards the top of radio. Teammates just trying to bait and switch around now. Sliding around the corner. North, unfortunate timing. Sheldon's there for a quick trade. 15 seconds left. You got to look at the off-screen engagements. Players number 1 versus number 7. It's a big one-on-one all the way in the back, but unfortunately now for Davenport, you're going to have everybody from St. Clair's now making their way up the map, just looking to get a little bit of time in the back, but more importantly, those crucial spawns.
Brandon Streaks got a 2 on the front line. Will be cut down from North here on the rotation. These battles are going to be everything St. Clair. They had a very strong Hill 3 in the first set of rotations. And Alex, this is where you would definitely want to start this comeback inside Tuscan if you were the Saints. With the setup, Brandon in the back. Power position for the ARs. Anthrax comes swinging alongside the staircase. He opens things up, and the opportunity, they're going to seize it. And a quick break from Panthers from the front of the hill. 35 seconds to collect.
All it takes is a small break in the dam for everything to collapse and the water to come rushing through. In this case, the water's Davenport. And Sheldon is still alive in the hill. Cutting down Brandon and Gorilla in the back. Nate gonna go over the top. You can't win off of this hill. You can get damn close, though. Sauce, Anthrax one-on-one. Sheldon is still alive. If he would have got that kill on Sauce, I probably would have walked away from my setup. See more.
Water in there. He's like a turret, just pivoting around. He is just unkillable at certain times. Sheldon having a fantastic game, 27 and 14. But heading into this Churchill now, St. Clair, they need to play perfect if they want to find the upset here in hill number 1. You look at the fight from the front. Jekko on the flank will find Sauce from behind, and Priestley now has to disengage. You need these spawns if you're the Saints. The hill's going to open up. Now it's time to go. Priestley eats the nade inside of the Church. 2 kills will come out from the Saints, so they will find the break. But how long can they hold?
Anthrax from the front. Brandon around the corner with the rat pistol is going to be able to find a kill. St. Clair, it's going to be a desperate opportunity to come back. You're still down by a 100-point margin. But all the way in the back, Gorilla's trying to do his best work to get the teammate on his back to push them forward in through the rest of the Tuscan hardpoint. Anthrax around the corner, just trying to wait for the rest of the reinforcements to get there. An opportunity for a pinch was there, but Priestley in the hill will go for 3. Looking around for number 4, it's Gecko, who's all the way in the back, trying to make a last-minute play, but Sauce will clean it up. A great hole here from St. Clair's and towards point 4.
See, Alex, I mean, they're not a bad team. The Saints, they have what it takes to go toe-to-toe. It's just an unfortunate map here from a certain amount of players, and they just haven't been able to get things going. But a fantastic kill, number 4, getting the confidence up for this team. Let's see if they can break here. They have a pinch going for Hill 5 to set up early for the Panthers. Anthrax calling the nade, still gonna find Brandon. He will be traded out from Sauce, but a very mixy hill as 3 go down for the Saints. It's gonna be Panthers looking to put it away with 13 seconds needed.
10 seconds left for the Davenport Panthers. St. Clair trying to break on in. Desperate as ever. Staircase. Sheldon's going to be able to find one. One huge over by P2 and 3. All the way on down on the staircase. We'll find number 2. Nate going to nade himself there. Forced to rotate out. Put himself in a bad position with 5 seconds left. It's Davenport in the lead.
St. Clair, nobody's here to touch. Brandon trying to get there in time through the bottom of P5, but is not able to do so. 250 to 156. Now, a stomping out of Davenport, a convincing win inside of map number 1, and a very, very confident lead through most of it. However, the end of that Tuscan compared to the start were 2 very, very different hard points, Alex. And if you're Davenport, you have to be thinking ahead now from that map 1. Like, okay, St. Clair, they seem a little bit more awake towards the end of that hard point. Is this going to be the same going into the second map? I mean, if you're Saints, hopefully not. But if you're Davenport, you're looking to keep them there.
Sure, and I mean, you know, we talked about how this is St. Clair's first true match in the playoffs thus far, so it's like, you know, are you getting those first round jitters out? Is it a case of maybe just not being as warm as you'd like to be? Again, Davenport's coming into this with a very, very hot streak behind them, so they're riding the rainbow road of success going into this map, but more specifically this series. The one thing that I will say, though, is earlier in that game, for Brandon, at least on St. Clair, it was at one point looking like handshakes and hey, thanks for coming out, man. But then he started to turn it around a little bit. Momentum started to get in the wings for St. Clair. Unfortunately, again, when you get out to such a deficit early on in Tuscan, specifically points 1 through 3, it is so difficult to start making that
It
comeback
really
and
is.
mounting it all the way through, because Tuscan is such a rotation heavy map that if you're not going to be on top of that and you're just fighting for scrap time just to slowly inch your way back, you're going to be at a disadvantage and fighting from the outside looking in every single time.
No, it's one thing we highlighted at the start. I mean, Sauce, uncharacteristically bad game, in my opinion, for that first map on Tuscan. And it's about St. Clair. You know, if they want to win over the Panthers, you need to be enabling these players. You need to make sure that as a team, you're setting up, you're working together for these breaks. Because when St. Clair is at their strongest, it's when they are coordinating together as a squad. You saw a lot of individual pushes inside that map on Tuscan. You could see the disconnect, like you alluded to. Possibly cold going into this matchup, considering they haven't played a game yet in the playoffs. But at this point, you know, you're in winners semifinals, and that's not an excuse you can be banking on when your winners bracket run is on the line. When winners finals is just right around the corner, you need to show up at times like this. And going throughout the series, I need to start seeing that teamwork again from the Saints. If they want to bring this to even a map number 4 now, if they want to push this series to the distance, you need to start seeing them enable each other more.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two ways you can look at this series too, right? One is we just want to get to winners semifinals so we can, you know, secure ourselves top 3. The other way of looking at that is this match is a $1,200 match. Because if you guarantee yourselves top 3, you're at least guaranteed $1,200. Whichever one of these two teams win this, you're guaranteed to place in the money. And that's kind of the biggest thing that I would be looking for if I am St. Clair, just to give me that one up and say, hey, let's kick ourselves from behind. Let's get in high gear for the search and destroy here. Let's focus on what we're good at, and that could potentially be a Bakaj search and destroy. The defensive side, that's where they're going to reside here early on in round 1. Looks to be an early A hit here on offense for Davenport.
Our big keys to victory were avoiding Tuscan, and here we go on Bakaj. St. Clair looking to sneak one through early, and Priestley already starting well with the first blood onto Sheldon, a very big player in that map. After 1, sliding through the doors, Gecko reads Sauce, evens us up. And 3-on-3, and that should give a little bit of leeway over to A, but you got to recover your bomb if Davenport want to get this down, and Gecko, he will find it off Sheldon's body.
Still got to work it onto the A bomb, where not only do you have Priestley on top of the house, but you also have the player all the way in the back in Gorilla who's sitting on the tank. So it's going to be very difficult to actually push up onto that A site without not only getting spotted, but trying to get that down without a pick. Anthrax into the top of the house, though. Priestley doesn't read him on the staircase around the corner. 1 versus 1 win, 2 versus 2, 30 seconds left.
And that could have been very tight for either player. I mean, the timing was there, but look at Brandon on the minimap. I didn't even see the play. The heads-up play to rotate through B, get in behind, and now leave Anthrax in a 1v2. If you're Anthrax, you should know that both players are on separate sides of the map, so you can isolate each one-on-one, but you find Brandon through the middle of the map, and that is going to be St. Clair walking away with round 1 with 2 players alive.
And that's just a good round from St. Clair. You played a little bit more passive on the defensive approach. You allow your ARs and SMGs to really get going, but more importantly, that round just comes down to Priestley being able to play those important first bloods and equalizing trades up towards the top of the house. Yeah, maybe you don't read Anthrax coming up the staircase, you get cut down, but in the 2 versus 2, that's where Brandon's able to shine. And maybe didn't have a great map number 1, but here in map number 2, he's looking great.
We haven't really talked a lot about Davenport. Anthrax coming into the search and destroy, he is going to be the player to watch. Usually an aggressive player, and St. Clair, you can see that they understand that. They're going to be playing a lot more passive, so if you're Anthrax, I mean, you have to be thinking, you know, do you want to stick to that aggressive playstyle, or do you want to slow it down? And you look at Gecko right now, it looks like they want to go aggro right into him. However, it will cost first blood.
4 versus 3. The bomb working its way in towards that A building. Anthrax actually spot the player out in the corner. Yes, he did. So, equalizes. 3 versus 3. 25 off the clock. Bomb now down a precarious spot. You got to get into that corner. But if you're St. Clair, again, you're playing this passive offensive approach. And the biggest thing there is, like, yeah, you know, you can play passive, but if you're going to allow your bomb planter to sprint all the way across the map, you should probably push a few players with it to make sure he doesn't get cut down.
Aggro play from Anthrax will give lives an even 2-on-2. Still dancing through Barn. These Saints players will get sniffed out from Brandon, because you see the hunt is on from the Saints, and they are going to now have live advantage. An opening to A, and Brandon spots out north, so they know the A side is wide open.
Gonna be able to get this bomb down. Rotation from north. You can try to play on the back tank here. Maybe just go for a head glitch. Nade gonna be just a bit too late. Priestley's gonna get pushed up, though. You have information on the player down on the tunnel, but a beautiful bait and switch from Brandon up and towards the top. Runs out the door of the kitchen. We'll clean up the final kill there in the round. So a 2-0 lead here on Bakaj early on. But more importantly, you tack on that 4 streak on top of it for Brandon.
And I like the way that St. Clair plays that 2v1 at the end. You can see that Brandon, although he's inside Grandma, still in the vicinity of Priestley. So as soon as the shots ring out, you can see right to the rescue he goes, plays the 2-on-1, plays together, and you can see the teamwork on St. Clair triumphing early 2-0 lead over Davenport. And both times, you know, it's just the patience paying off for the squad. Gorilla finding that kill on the Sheldon over toward Tanks really forces the hand of Anthrax, and there's only so much he can do.
Great information, though, with that stun. Sheldon was able to win the one-on-one over the top, so that completely erases that back tank from being played by St. Clair. Now, all you have to do, get inside the A building, maybe find the player in Priestley up and towards the top, cut that down, get the bomb done at the same time. 40 seconds left, or it would have been 45 seconds left. Would have been the timer. Going to plant from a different spot. Sauce is going to be able to cut that player down. So now the bomb is down on the site. It's a 1 versus 3 from Priestley. We'll see what he has in store.
They know Priestley usually plays up top Grandma, so eyes are on every single window, and he will be cut down. Davenport put themselves on the board, and what was it? A big adjustment off of round 1. Alex, I mean, what was it in round 1? It was Brandon. His overextension over towards B, putting pressure on the back line of the attack that Davenport was going for. This time around, you could see that a really late attack from the Panther player to rotate around B, find Brandon, and really open up the map for them to get that bomb down at A. And it's just successful the second time around because of that adaptation to put pressure on B.
I would like to see Gorilla play a bit more passive over towards the tank side, specifically knowing how important that player can be all the way in the back. But Sheldon once again connects onto the Gorilla for the second time. 2 first bloods now for Davenport. Leave them in a great spot on defense to take their second round.
Oh, look at that spot from Anthrax. He spots Priestley
all
the way through the back of the map, but a little bit too aggressive. Brandon will catch him. They do lose it on a teammate, so still at a life disadvantage 3v2. Bomb down underneath barn. Or it's up top barn, so Brandon can pick this up at any time, and he will. But what do you do here? I mean, you look at how patient Panthers are. They have eyes on both bomb sites, and nobody really wanting to move.
Really, players number 4 and 3 are the biggest advocates of the round here for Davenport. Obviously, Sheldon playing over the tank is going to be able to cut off not only the entire A site, but you put Gecko in the corner of the double doors middle map inside of the A house. You have free reign to rotate either towards A or B, depending on where you want to go. Now with the rest of the team in the back, they can hit this as a 3-man roster whenever they want to.
Oh, information now. Bomb going down at A. Echo, you can see he's flying. Bomb goes down. Shots are going to ring out. Priestley drops. Brandon now 1v3 inside of the bar, or inside Grandma's. He does escape, but surrounded by Panthers. And here they come north. Right through the front door. Brandon makes it a 1v2. But here come the rest. The teammates now closing in on his position. They 2v1 swing right through each door, and it's going to be an easy retake to even up this game.
And that right there is adjustments not only from Davenport, but more importantly, just the search and destroy savvy that you have to have at a top level of Call of Duty. Because, you know, you put any players from the green tier of league play in that situation, they're not sprinting together through that doorway for one person like that. They're going to challenge one by one. When you have a team that's well-oiled and they have a synergy with one another, that's the plays that you are going to have to make time after time. Specifically in a 1 versus 3 when you technically have the advantage, but not at the same time as much. Because for Brandon there, I mean, you could play any corner you wanted to. You could play inside of that building. You could play across the map. Once you get that first blood, a 1 versus 2 is very doable with the bomb down.
Couldn't get it done, though, and Panthers now even 1-2. First bloods have been the bane of their existence, but they rush right through the middle of the map, and Sauce says no. Closes the door on both Gecko and Anthrax, and that's both submachine guns on the map, so you got no aggression anymore if you're Davenport.
Sauce playing that angle. Sheldon should be able to find the kill there. That was 4 in a row. Hey, buddy, how about Brandon Sauce right to your face? That's going to be a beautiful headshot there for St. Clair. And now North's going to sprint directly off the map. A flawless round there from St. Clair gives them the momentum right back in their favor. And we've got a donut watch on the side of Davenport.
North 0-5 is definitely going to be something to look at, but a change of pace from Davenport, and it completely gets blown up in your face. They go back to the basics, you know, try to get aggressive to Saints, but, I mean, this goes back to my point in round 1, Alex, is you can see that St. Clair, they're playing patient. They're expecting the aggression, and rounds like that, they're just not going to cut it for Davenport.
offensive hit over towards that. You have information on one player already. Nobody from Davenport is actually playing towards that back tank this time, so a bit of a different push on the defensive side. You called it out perfectly. All the way up that B site. Ooh. You get those first two players. Brandon Priestley will fall to the hands of Anthrax for what seems like the 5th or 6th time here inside of Search and Destroy. Now it's a 2 versus 4. Unfortunately, Brandon, who has been a part of those clutches for the most part, not in the situation.
I mean, it just seems like he's everywhere sometimes. If he's not on one side of the map, if it doesn't work on one side of the map, he tries it at the second side of the map the next round. And it pays off this time. You get in through Riverside, you find 2 kills, and you find the last third one as well to even us back up 3-on-3. Anthrax is definitely the player to watch out for Davenport to make these plays, and he doesn't want to play passive. He knows St. Clair are going to be waiting for him, and he still wants to take the challenges, Alex.
I mean, from Modern Warfare, Cold War, even in this year, Anthrax has been known as one of those players that is going to get aggressive with an SMG. He'll try to get up in your face. He'll try to make those big plays for the team, and it still carries here in the fan card. Obviously, up that B site, you're not going to expect it every round, but if you pull a little trick out of your hat and you say, hey, let's just force let's just push the aggression, force the issue up the side of the map, we might be able to get a few picks for it. Anthrax just does it by himself. He's a one-man army.
Priestley really spoiled fun from this window. Doesn't look like Davenport want to let that happen again. They're surrounding the A site. Sauce here really stuck in a corner. Anthrax will sniff him out this time around. Not going to shut down the attack. And a double down from North as he gets his first inside of the Search and Destroy. He will put St. Clair in a really peculiar situation, just running around with their heads off, trying to find any semblance of control of this round of Search and Destroy. But it looks like Davenport now in a 4v1. Looking to take their lead here in the Search and Destroy. All they need to do is cut down Brandon in the back, and Anthrax waiting for him to peek. That's going to be 4 rounds on the board for Davenport Panthers.
And, you know, Brandon, the clutch guy for St. Clair, at least here inside of Pacage, you know, I thought maybe if you get that second kill on Anthrax, once again, it kind of becomes doable in a sense, but yeah, that's a hard gunfight to win against Anthrax, who, again, is now streaking, so... I believe that's 5 in a row. No, sorry, 6 in a row. One more kill. We'll get the glide bomb. 4-3. We're kind of at a crossroads here where this is the round. If Davenport wins it, you feel like the Search and Destroy is at a reach for St. Clair. If St. Clair can tie it up here, maybe get the streaks off of Anthrax early on in the round, that might be the saving grace for the S&D and more importantly, the series. You don't want to go down 0-2, but through the middle of the map, guess who it is? It's Anthrax with the first nade, the glide bomb to go with it.
Brandon had to be tagged up already, and immediately he's going to vest the glide bomb. He's looking to snowball this round out of St. Clair's hands. The glide bomb will find nothing, but it forces St. Clair now inside of these buildings. So a lot of map positioning here for Panthers to keep the pressure on. And in a 3v4, St. Clair, they really need to pull this back. A kill would do wonders for this map. But just Anthrax is giving them nothing. He's making sure he plays his life, but he's going to get a little bit over aggressive, and now 3-on-3.
So much information, but you would hate to use a streak in a round that you eventually lose. 4-3, 45 seconds left. Bomb still in the hand. St. Clair pushing into the A building now. Gecko playing such a sneaky little corner. Could pay off in spades if they decide to push all the way through. However, Sheldon across the map is going to be able to find the first kill in this 3 versus 3, technically called another first blood here in a very close situation.
Evened up by Priestley. Gecko, the corner. It's secret, and it's working off. Now Priestley alone in a 1v2 to make sure that this isn't a 5th round for Davenport, but he's got 20 seconds to make it happen. He does not know the positioning on the last player here. 15 seconds, recovers the bomb. Gecko watching it. Priestley here is going to swing on out, and Gecko is not going to let him get any farther. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. We are going straight to 5th round for Davenport. And this is where they can close off the map number 2 and go up 2-0 in the series. St. Clair, they really need to put their feet down here.
You know, I don't know if you remember me saying this earlier on, but the one thing above everything else, if you're St. Clair, that you had to avoid against Davenport is making sure, absolutely sure, that you don't go down 0-2 in the first 2 games. Right now, at match point, you're basically looking at it to where it'll be series point after this. 1 round could put everything away. Brandon's had a great game. Everybody else basically has the same amount of kills as Brandon plus 1. So take that as you will. At least he turned himself around after the map 1 performance.
See if you can turn around this round here. Percy's still up in the windowsill. Peeks it out immediately. Sheldon puts some pressure on, not allowing Priestley just to peek on out. Another first blood here. This time North. Early trade from Sauce, though, to pull it back into a 3-on-3. And look at this positioning from Brandon. I don't think Sheldon saw him cross, so might be able to spoil the fun. Sheldon is going to be spotted out. Gecko here to chase. Slides on through. Brandon won't be able to read it in time. Still Sauce keeping it even, though. 2-1-2.
You got to win those. If you're Brandon, Gecko around the corner, though, gets the best of him. Bomb going to go down. Do you see him? You do see him. Got to get the shots from over the top of the bomb will go down. 1 versus 2.
Look how cautious Sauce was in taking that. You know, St. Clair, they don't want to make a mistake here. Gecko last alive, but you look at both players on St. Clair, they were on an island now holding hands. You got the tiny terrors of St. Clair to go up against Priestley and Sauce. And Sauce is immediately diffusing. I didn't even see that bomb goes down. Gecko here spots him from behind, takes down the bomb diffuser. Patience pays off, and he snaps out to the second. 4 in a row from Gecko to put away map 2.
Colin, I believe that's what we call manslaughter. Just watch it one more time. Just watch it one more time. You know, that right there is pretty, because what do you do? Okay, sure, maybe it's good timing there to be able to check the bomb around the corner. You slide around, ooh, ooh, you peek it, you get the kill, right? You dip inside of the building, you tack sprint back out the door, you jump across the map, and then all of a sudden there's a pull, take an aim assist off of you, and then you're able to win the 1 versus 1. That right there is textbook Call of Duty in the new age, where sliding, jumping, and all the like are the best thing that you can have in any gunfight. That's just pretty Call of Duty. Davenport with a 2-0 lead now. Colin, I mean, can I get your take on this, please? I would love to.
I mean, that's heartbreaking if you're St. Clair, Alex. A 2v1, you do the right thing. You stack the bomb right away, and you're watching for the push through Grandma's. Although Gecko didn't want to move through Grandma's, he takes it to the outside. He catches the player from behind, or he spots him, and he you know, the trigger discipline. You know, it was everything right there. Goes for the bomb diffuser first, takes the gunfight secondary, knowing that he rotates on the other side. And I mean, it's just heartbreak right now. If you're a St. Clair Saints fan, really hoping you walked away with that map number 2, knowing that a really big focus on this map series was taking out the Tuscan Search and Destroy. And you do. Bocage, you know, it was a recipe to aim for if you're Saints. It's just not the recipe to success for that second map. And I mean, you said it yourself, you don't want to go down 0-2 to a red hot Davenport team. They haven't dropped a map yet in the playoffs, and they're looking just like the upset kings right now.
Yeah, and you go back to the last series that they played against them, and the biggest storyline of that was St. Clair, you took map number 1, and then it was 3 straight maps where you fell. Technically, if you want to use the technicality of this, Davenport are on a 5-map win streak over the side of St. Clair. They're looking to make it number 6 to close this series out, and there's not another hard point inside until map number 4, which is the only map that St. Clair was able to take off of Davenport in the last series. And might I add, at least it was a Gavutu hard point the first time when Davenport was able to take down St. Clair. But we know how difficult offenses can be on Gavutu, and it was a 3-0. So that at least should tell you a little something.
Well, let's talk a little bit ahead of this for the control. You know, we're heading to Tuscan. You know, you and I were really talking about for the control, where do you want to go? You know, last time you got stomped 3-0 in Gavutu. This time you get a shot at Tuscan. And I like this call from the Saints. I mean, we didn't really see the best start to them on that Tuscan hardpoint. But towards the end of it, I mean, you really saw the making of a strong Tuscan team inside of the Saints. When they started trusting each other, when they started working off of each other, and you really saw, you know, Priestley, Sauce, you know, doing what they need to do in the St. Clair roster and stepping up to the plate for the slaying factor. And after that happens, you're just able to enable each other to another level if you're the Saints. So if you're looking at Tuscan, I mean, just ride the wave of the end of that hard point. You know, you weren't looking bad towards the end of that Tuscan hardpoint. You do lose the map, but you can look on the bright side, and this is your chance now to rip away a control from Davenport, put yourselves on the board, and go to another map, go to another hardpoint, and have another chance to maybe push this to a map 5.
I mean, the S&D by all marks, I'll say that, was decently close. It was better than what we saw previous when they played against Davenport. But I'll say this too. Map 1 and Map 2, they had something in common. Everybody basically wasn't playing up to where they could be. And that was true for multiple things. Map 1, obviously, Brandon had a lackluster game.
Right.
Everybody else but Brandon had a lackluster game in the Search and Destroy. I just want to see a map where St. Clair has everybody playing at a high level, but more importantly, being able to bring something to the table and not just having 1 or 2 people lead the way while everybody else is just kind of being that supplemental factor. I want everybody to have one game where there's just all firing on all cylinders, because I think once that happens, something's going to click for them, and all of a sudden they're just going to be taking their game from here,
You're right,
bringing it to here. That's all I have to say, and that's all it's going to take.
Hey, I mean, you look at the end of that hard point, and that was the St. Clair that you're asking for, Alex. So let's see if they can mirror that going into this. But we talked a lot about St. Clair again. I mean, let's highlight a little bit on Davenport, because no strangers to Tuscan Control. We saw them on Wednesday play against UTC, and they went all the way to round 5. But they walked away with it to upset the series in a 3-0 sweep. So, I mean, this is not a team that you want to overlook on a Tuscan Control. And again, a player to watch out for, it's going to be Anthrax, hoping to make those flank plays, hoping really to open up this map with that AR and allow your submachine guns to fly.
Map 1 Anthrax, or I should say map 1 and 2 Anthrax is on that MP40. This time we'll pull out the automaton, help out the rest of the team with an AR over the top. Beautiful break, though, for the side of St. Clair. Have yet to lose a life. 7 kills on the side of Davenport as well. 30-23, and already a full bit of progress over towards that A zone. How about you give them an extra minute on the clock? They've got 2:15 and plenty of lives to break over towards B.
But you wanted to see a change of pace for Saints? There it is. Fantastic. Perfect run at A. They don't even drop a player until that A site gets capped. And now they have 2 minutes to take this B zone. Now, one thing to note is that this B zone is ultimately a lot harder than the A zone to capture. But with 2 minutes, I mean, you have a lot of chances at breaking this one. You can see Saints looking to make it happen through P5, although shut down from Gecko and Anthrax is really going to slow them down. Brandon on an island over at Church, and he's going to fall as well. So no openings yet from the Saints to make a move to B.
Double there from Sauce. Should be able to go ahead and find Anthrax for number 3 in a row. So that's going to be 3 down already for Davenport. Off the spawn, 1 player is going to be there. You just got to look to play number 7 up in top of North, who's on the platform, waiting for a few more players to make their way all the way up. Gucci Gang Sauce is going to be there for number 4. I please Ego Chow that. I'm just really hoping he just pop around the corner for the Ego Chow. On the staircase, though, Anthrax will be there for help. So what was a 7 life advantage, now down to 2. And I was going to say this, you know, when you were bringing it up, Colin, how many times have we seen over 2 minutes of time be on the clock, tons of lives ticked off on the defensive side, and then the offensive team just falls apart because they can't keep their foot on the gas.
I got 10 fingers on my hands, and I don't even think that I can count on my hands how many times I've seen it. It's just, it's way too many. I believe that, I mean, Davenport, they very well can sneak away this defensive round still, and they've already shaved off a whole minute, so definitely doable. Live lead to St. Clair only by 1. Sauce really did his best to open up this B zone, but this disjointed attack can't happen again.
15-15. Anthrax, Sheldon, the rest of the crew trying to tag on for a few more kills. Lives even. 35 seconds left. It's about maybe 1 good push left before everybody just has to start sprinting towards the point. Brandon, it's going to be a difficult gunfight with an automaton to get around the corner here. First one there, Gecko with the MP40 is able to find the first couple of shots. Fortunately enough, though, it's a little bit of a bait and switch there, and now 3 lives down, 18 seconds left. They're on the point.
You know, the big thing is they wait long enough for Parisi to make a move to take down that 3rd player, so they're going to hop on the zone, see if they can stack it. Tick of progress would be amazing after all this turmoil, and here it goes. First one going to be there. 3 more go down. Now Gecko, the only one on point, walks away with 2, but still Sauce here to collect time. On this site, working on the second tick of regression as you see the respawns, able to reinforce this right away, but still St. Clair walking away with a lot of lives right now. 10-5, 13 seconds left. This is so doable for the Saints.
Still a lot of progress left, though. You got halfway to go. Only 10 seconds left. Everybody there. They're about to break on in. Priestley's going to be able to find the first kill there. Gucci Gang Sauce from the top. Looking for a few players. Contest is in. Brandon tries to go. Anthrax, Gecko. They pair for 2. 7-3. 5 seconds left. It's only 1 player here, and it's Gucci Gang Sauce. Tries to jump down on the point. Will be able to contest for the time being, but from around the corner, that's going to do it. They save the day. It will look like an offensive round that could have very easily gone to St. Clair. Davenport pull off a miracle and go up 1-up in the control.
I mean, there's only so many miracles you can call in a Tuscan B zone. And that's what is just a moment we've seen so many times with so many different teams. And if you're St. Clair, again, that's just a moment that's heartbreaking, where your opportunity was there to find an offensive round and it just slips through your fingers. So hoping you can mirror that or have a little bit more success over Davenport and deny some ticks of progression. You got 4 ticks of progression inside of that round. So this is going to be something where you got to look at in the long run to see if you could do one better on your defense. But you can see Davenport looking to make their way over to the A zone. Stop the clock at a minute 22. 2-for-1 trade as well. So lies over in the favor of the Panthers on that A zone. But when you're looking at the map, it's Sauce again looking to make a flank play.
Sauce in the back lines. Anthrax tied up with another player towards the front, but you're going to be able to give up that A zone already. So what was going to be a great play there from Sauce, what could have shut down them getting the A zone and took some more time off the clock, turns into a minute of time now for Davenport. Basically a mere break off from what we saw in round number 1 when St. Clair had the offensive try. This time, no, it's the side of Davenport Now we're going to be trying on the offensive side, pending, of course, that 2-life lead.
And it's something that I've seen all series long is just it's too slow for the Saints. You need to be faster. You need to be quicker on these attacks. You see the decisiveness out of the Panthers. There's just something that's just leading them to an edge over the Saints every single map. And again, it's going to pay there in the A zone. A little bit of indecisiveness, and you lose out on that first zone. But hey, we just saw the Panthers hold for 2 minutes with a life disadvantage. I mean, the Saints still can do that here.
All the way back, Priestley. Huge gunfight here. You got 4 players. Davenport all running towards you. You're able to get the first. However, it's retreat immediately after the fact. Gorilla gets a kill on the north. Pinstripe kill feed. Davenport still with the lead. 5 life advantage. 2 players now swarming over by B. Off spawn for St. Clair's going to be over towards that north portion, but you have to look to Brandon, who's playing by himself in P5. Could be the difference maker if he decides to pull through on the flank. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Sheldon still have the bonks. 2 big kills from Gorilla, slowing down these attacks from Davenport, and you still have Brandon alive in that P5, so no real opening just yet to get a full team push into that. And what another shot from Brandon to shut down that positioning from Sheldon, thinning the lines of the Davenport. And I mean, you just can't attack the B zone with only 3 players. So if you keep losing these one-on-ones, Davenport are going to keep struggling to hit this B zone. But here we go. 2 go down. Now it's time to fly.
Everybody down except for 1. Gorilla all the way back on the tank, and you're really not in a position to push back over towards the point just yet. You got to wait for everybody to come off spawn on the north side, which is really where Davenport wanted to force them. Now they've got their hand, they're playing their advantage, and now Anthrax around the corner is able to find shots to kill with north to find 1. 2-to-1 trade. St. Clair now back to the point. Gecko's going to be there. That second tick of progress. They're trying to go ahead and grab it. They finally should. Oh, never mind. I guess Gucci Gang Sauce decided to run back on towards the point. But more importantly, Colin, Gecko sprinted off because he was weak.
One word, thrilling. I mean, this is just electric at both teams. You can see that Saints, they want this. They're not going to give it up. Brandon's going to find Anthrax through bunks. So, again, only 3 players here to hit the zone, and you got 30 seconds to make a play for Davenport. 10-8 away. It was a 7-on-3 for St. Clair to lose that first round. But here, this needs to be flawless break from the Panthers.
4 hit after 4 hit. This time, though, everybody down except for 1. A 4-man down. Priestley goes big for 3. Finishes off the last one with the pistol. And with 8 seconds left, there's literally no time to get across the map. It's going to be a Davenport loss here on the offensive round. So we trade defenses here. St. Clair, unfortunately, or rather fortunately, I should say, will hold on to get themselves on the board.
And no tick advantage either. Both teams collecting only 4 ticks of progress at both the A and B zone throughout both offensive rounds. So if you're saying the slate of your blunder of round number 1 and you're just back to the start, see if you can do what you did last time, overwhelm the A zone, capture it early, and then just keep that pressure up over to B, get a little bit of a change, get a little bit of an adjustment, and you can find success this go around. So Saints, you're really walking away feeling good.
Typical gunfight to 1 versus 2 up and towards the top. North will fall to the hands of Gorilla. Once again, a nice break off from St. Clair. They've gotten everybody over towards that A site. Sheldon in the back line is going to be forced to back off, but as Anthrax and Gecko go ahead and pair for 2 quick kills, it's going to be a tick of progress over at A. Good news is, as you clear them off, and now you can start to push your will up the map. Be careful, though, of Sauce, who's trying to make another late flank yet again.
Well, Sauce finds Sheldon. Flanks opened up. Not going to find anything more, though. 3 go down again for the Saints, and this is the scary part. The pressure, the aggression that come out from Davenport, you can see it surging on forward to map control after that 3 down. St. Clair, they're forced to make a play towards B, and they find Sheldon. So if you stack this B zone, you can find a lot of progression here.
Only 1 player alive over for Davenport at P5. It was Anthrax looking to make a big play, trying to find at least 1 kill. You get some information, though, on where everybody from St. Clair will be coming from. Recognize that nobody comes through the church. However, now you're going to have a pinch play set up as Sheldon. So on player number 6, Gecko, or rather an Anthrax, is going to be from behind. Colin, that made no difference in the whole play there because St. Clair is slaying on all fronts.
St. Clair is taking care of business over at B. Anthrax trying to slip on in. Doesn't account for Brandon tucked away in the corner. Now, you have to be thinking 3 ticks of progression is very possible. Sauce trying to find Sheldon here. Is going to tip on down, but still chasing inside of this pillar, and he's going to walk away with it. Now working on the 3rd tick of progression, and look at this, the respawns for Saints. Putting pressure towards A, so you're really split in this attention. If you're Davenport, you have to give up B.
And they completely give it up, but now that's 2 ticks to the side of St. Clair, so this bodes well for an offensive round here, especially if we go to that round number 5 for a defense. 17-17. Minute 38 to get back over towards A. Again, here comes Sauce, but they're going to snip it out. They're going to watch every... Because he's flanked so many times now that they finally have adjusted to it, and St. Clair have yet to be able to recognize that, hey, maybe sending somebody on the flank isn't the best thing, because that's going to force them to play a little bit more passive as they get back towards the point.
Sheldon goes down, still contention from Davenport, but only one tick needed and 1 minute and 30 seconds to do so. 3 players go down from the Saints. If you're Davenport in this position, you need to put some pressure on the neck of the beast right now. St. Clair, they cannot be walking into this A zone with a 4-on-4 player life.
Gecko in the back is going to be able to find yet another 2-piece. Anthrax pushing up into the L side of St. Clair. Colin, we say it time and time again. Yeah, the B zone might be hard to get to, but try to get over towards that A zone when everybody's on a head glitch, and it's going to get hard. 5 in a row now for Gecko. You're trying to find streaks. If you're Davenport, it would bode well for the rest of the game, but more importantly, that utility in the back pocket, oh so good.
St. Clair, you only get one more attack at this A zone with full 4 players. Sauce on the flank again. I say this, we've seen it countless times, but lately it hasn't been working as they expected. 2 go down on the front line. Now no more respawns for the Saints. Sauce here on the flank, looking to open things up, but now all eyes on Sauce. Sheldon's going to shut him down. 30 seconds left in St. Clair. They only have 2 players to take this last tick of progression at A. And it would take a miracle to make that happen. Gorilla now last alive, 20 seconds. He's going to rush on in. He's going to rush to his death. Last round here for Davenport to sweep St. Clair. They're up 2-1 in the control, and they are feeling confident to put St. Clair away.
2 different points of contention. Number 1, Davenport is going to need 5 ticks to at least try to force themselves a defensive round if we go to round number 5. But of course, on the flip side, as you mentioned beforehand, yes, this could absolutely be the final nail in the coffin for St. Clair inside of the series if you don't clutch up on your defense. Although we say it's very difficult to win offensive rounds, it's very easy to choke or lose an offense, or rather a defensive round, especially if you lose that opening break. Now that Gecko's been able to find that first blood, that was the only person they sent to outer A. Everybody's going to be coming to the middle of the map. This is going to be a very difficult win for St. Clair, especially if they get that first 2 ticks of progress. Nobody's able to get to the point for a trade.
Gecko's on 8 in a row. I mean, off the break, he was at 6 going into this round. Now, streaks in the hand of Gecko. Sheldon on 6 of his own. So, looking to get 2 glide bombs on board for Davenport. They have 2 ticks of progression to the A zone. And I mean, if you're St. Clair, you have nobody to go to A right now. You need to put all your eggs in B. Yep. And you need to hope that you don't give Sheldon that glide bomb.
Well, again, not sending more than one person out or towards that A site is going to be almost a death sentence every time, especially when Davenport are going to 3-hit it. Obviously, you know, you want to make sure you're watching over by B, but you only need 1 player by B to go ahead and get a read, and everybody can start rotating back, especially if you're playing that north outer side by that A point. So, sure, we can slow down for a second, calculate everything, but Davenport has 2 sets of full streaks now to use at their disposal, whether it be here on this offensive push or a defensive round 5.
Davenport, they have a lead in kills, so 2 ticks of progression will give them the defensive win if they keep up this pace, or the defensive round for round number 5. But St. Clair, they need to hold strong, and they need to hold convincingly over at the B zone. So far, so good. You get 3 down. Sheldon, the closest one, pushed up, and he's going to sit tight in radio. Ooh, will he be able to stay here? Yes, he will. He is going to set up camp. Wait for the reinforcements here, but, I mean, through P5, Sauce, he hits the flank again. He's going to shut down Anthrax, so that should slow down Davenport. But you look at now streaks in hand of the Panthers. You have 2 glide bombs, and here comes one of them.
Player on the plat taken care of. 2 players now inside of P5 going to push out. That's actually 3 of them. So you have radio control. You look all the way to the back. Gorilla trying to make a play all the way through the top, and you finally will. Sauce is there for 1 as well. So it takes 2 players off the board from Davenport, and now they're forced to just sit, play for time, find a few kills while the reinforcements come off the spawn. Unfortunately, though, Colin, with those 2 kills, that's going to waste at least another 25 seconds.
I mean, Alex, you see Gorilla 16 and 26. Not the best positive game right now inside of control, but through both defensive rounds, he's been so pivotal to this B holds, finding so many one-on-one wins to shut down the attacks from Davenport, and he's just a player you want to be having turned up in this defensive round here. You can see Davenport flooding on in through the spawn. They have the full flank. All 3 players going to be there, and they're even finding some kills, but Brandon finds Sheldon. 3 go down. Davenport, they're going to stack the zone. It's going to go fast.
They force them to spawn on the church as well. Here comes another glide bomb. Sheldon all the way in the top. You're going to be able to find that. Not going to find the teammate either, but there's only 1 person left, and everybody now at P5 for Davenport. And as that player falls, St. Clair once again have the advantage. They're here holding on defense.
I mean, you make the play if you're Davenport, but it takes so much time for the flank, and now 18 seconds left to get to this B zone. You need to hop on this at some point. Anthrax taking some damage on 28 HP. Looking to push through the backside. He is going to find Parisa here too. Go down 15 seconds. They stack the site. Brandon looking to shut this down. That's a big kill onto North, but you still have 2 players here. They find the first tick on this B zone, and now second one will or should give them defense.
Anthrax went massive, but a huge double from Brandon might go ahead and spoil the party of Davenport. Last player there at Gecko, they won't be able to find that second tick. So this changes everything.
I mean, you know what time it is of the year. It's NBA playoff time, and Brandon's been warming up with those nades. He's got the shooter, and he is hitting them. 2 nades, or a double kill with 1 nade to open up that B zone for retake. And what a pivotal moment for the Saints, Alex. That is everything right now. If you find this control, it's because Brandon's nade right there.
And Seymour, just think back to that first offensive round that Davenport had. It was another crazy little feed from St. Clair that took them off when they were hair follicles away from being able to control that second tick of progress at B. So that's 2 straight rounds where they could have had that extra tick of progress at B. Not going to work this time. This could be an aggressive 3-man hit directly through P5. This time, no. It was St. Clair who was ready for it. They're going to be able to cut down 2 instantaneously and now have reinforcements and numbers here off spawn.
I just change of pace from Davenport. They're going to put pressure on B instead of A. A little bit of a change in their strategy from the previous rounds, but it doesn't work out. And Brandon, he's going to get the good timing on North as well. So all attention now over to A, and still slaying out are the Saints here. Sauce going to take down Anthrax. Gecko now the closest one over towards the A zone, going to keep some pressure as well. So time clock isn't burning, but Brisley will cut him down, and this is going to open up a lot for St. Clair now.
And then on the clock, Davenport trying to control this A zone before that ticks any further under that minute mark. Sauce slides on over towards the point. Instead of flanking this time, just goes straight through the U, trying to get to everybody else. You look to play number 2 in Brandon. Off screen, trying to make yet another flank. Maybe play number 4 and Gorilla goes ahead and pushes all the way through as well. But Sauce is reading through the spawns. Player that was in church goes ahead over towards B. This is going to take and direct the attention to St. Clair to 2 different places.
Oh, big one for Brisley. Shutting down yet again the attack towards B. You got no streaks if you're the Panthers, and you have realistically no time to move over to B. Everything has to be pulled into A now with 50 seconds left and a life disadvantage. Gecko here looking to spearhead this attack. It's a 2-pronged one, and Brandon's gonna get hit the smoke from it as well. So with that kill into Brandon, should close things off at the A zone. You slap another minute onto the clock. We're looking at B, but I mean, this B zone, Alex, it has been the bane of both teams' attack.
3 life difference. Davenport, this control round is for all the marbles. Moving on into the winners finals, placing top 3, $1,200 secured for you at the very least. Sauce down the staircase. Davenport here, 3 quick kills. You look to the back spawn, minute and 20 seconds. If this isn't the one that works out for them, they've got at least 2 more pushes that they have in the back pocket to use. Gecko pushed up the map, now is going to be able to find one.
He knows Sauce is here, but he won't win the gunfight. Sauce still looking to make this happen. You have a pinch coming up for player number 4. Gorilla looking to once again spoil the party here for the Panthers, but Sheldon shuts him down. Last tick going to go through. They can end it here.
5 killing spree for Sheldon. Everybody there trying to push down the ramp. They're not going to be able to get there. Gecko, everybody pushed on. Oh, maybe it's the last December from Brandon. Is able to find the second almost last tick of progress is in. Sheldon will win it for Davenport. You tried twice. You fail on both. This time, it's the second tick that comes through and the final one in the coffin. St. Clair, we'll see you in the lower bracket.
How many times do you hear it throughout your lifetime? 3rd time's the charm. And for Davenport, it took 3 rounds on offense, but you finally cracked the code over towards the B zone. I mean, this is a red-hot team over in Davenport, and it seems like they just love going round 5 in Tuscan and making it a nail-biter. They do it again here versus the Saints, but once again, they walk out triumphant, sending the St. Clair Saints to the losers bracket and punching their ticket now to the winners final.
Look, if there's going to be a series that goes 0-3 for one team, I want it to end like that. A beautiful fireworks spectacular showing on the final map in map 3 on Tuscan. Not Gavutu. We don't like Gavutu. I don't like Gavutu. We can see Gavutu in a different world.
Hey, come on.
Tuscan for map 3 to end it there in a 3. I don't care. I don't care. Look, I've played that map enough the last few days in league play to understand that I never want to play a map like that ever again. So, yes, I'm biased. Biased caster. That's me. However, the biggest thing and the most important thing overall, Davenport's moving on, and that was an incredibly defiant triumph that they had there in the final round of that Tuscan, because that was pretty.
Hey, we look at the whole setup for the series, and this isn't the first time that St. Clair have struggled against Davenport. You know, we saw them back in stage 1 over CCL. They lose 3-1. You move over into winners semifinals here in the Call of Duty Varsity League, and you lose swift 3-0. You didn't look the best in your Tuscan Hardpoint. Came out a little flat. The Search and Destroy, you had a little pump of life from Brandon. Still wasn't able to get it done with the rest of the team. And then, I mean, that control was your best chance. Brandon gifted you defense into that last round 5. But you fumbled the bag towards B. Again, it's just a fault out of St. Clair to leave one line open towards that B zone. An opening was presented, and Davenport, they did not let go of it. And Alex, if you're St. Clair, I mean, this losers bracket, I mean, it's got to be a good one, because you look at the teams that are left in the winners final, and if you're making this losers bracket run, if you're St. Clair, you're most likely going to have to play Davenport again. Yeah.
Either that, or you're going to have to play one of the losers of Bay State and Northwood. So
it doesn't get any easier when you look at that one.
Decisions down the road, and players are going to have a rough journey to get not only top 4, but place in the money. Colin, I have to ask you this more importantly than anything else, though. When we look at these two teams, when we look at this series as a whole, what stands out to you about Davenport over anything else?
It's just their pressure. It is just the relentless aggression that this team will put on you, and it is the relentless aggression that they do together. I mean, I don't know how many times I will see this team on defense in their control. I mean, just to reference that Tuscan, since it was so recent, that we will see them send a full team over to B to shut down the extension from the offensive team, and they will still leave a player towards A to hold those spawns back rooftop for the offensive team, and even do one better and just put some pressure off of those respawns. I mean, it's always the trust in this team to get that aggression going and just to follow through with the aggression. You can see that this team, they have the trust in each other. They've been playing with each other for so long. I mean, sure, we asked them that in the interview, and it is just, it's those highlights on this team that make them scary, that make it hard to play your own game, to play your own tempo because of the pressure that they put on.
One thing you said to me before anything else in the series, before we went on broadcast, while we were doing all our notes for the series, is that Gecko had a quote from an interview about this matchup against St. Clair.
He said it.
You want to read that, because I'm not going to steal your thunder on that one. That was
I asked him. We asked him, how you feeling about St. Clair? He said, we're going to 3-0 St. Clair, and look at this. A 3-0 in St. Clair, and they made it look good. And they made it look clean in a lot of these senses.
Yeah, and not to say that St. Clair's is not a great team, and not to say this was an easy 3-0 by any stretch of the imagination, but that first hard point, at least to me, on how the series was most likely going to pan out. You know, we kind of lined it up earlier and said, you know, it could have been, you know, first playoff series jitters. It could have been the team not being warm. There's a lot of excuses that we could put there, or the simple answer of they just simply weren't prepared, and Davenport was the better team in map number 1. Same thing happened in 2 and 3. We got to the point we did because Davenport was the better team in this series. St. Clair's are going to the losers bracket. Yeah, it's going to suck. It's going to be an absolute bloodfest down there to try and not only trudge into the top 4, but get further past that. I don't think the run is done. I just think it's going to be harkened in. It's not dampered to a severe amount. I don't know if we'll see them being able to get back into the top 4 after what we saw here. I hope for their sake it's going to be enough, but in my humble opinion, from watching them throughout the entire year, I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, I mean, for St. Clair, the runner-up from the Call of Duty Varsity League back in Cold War, I mean, they have the making of a strong team. Let's just hope that they can piece themselves together to make that run happen, and I'd like to see them back on stream again. I hope this isn't the end of this team. I mean, this is a team who's been through a lot throughout collegiate Call of Duty, and honestly, this is a team that I'd like to see, you know, do a little bit better than what we saw today. So we're hoping to see them back on stream. You know, best of luck in that losers bracket. But for Davenport, they just punched their ticket into the winners finals, and they are confident as ever. We're not going to have an interview, folks, for Davenport, but we are going to touch on LLS here. LLS making an impact in the cancer community, which includes leukemia survivor Brenda. In 2015, Brenda was battling what she thought was a cold, but she wasn't getting better. After being taken to the hospital, she was in disbelief to learn she had acute uh, myeloid leukemia. Apologies if I mispronounced. But Brenda's treatment started immediately, but it wasn't an easy road mentally. During this time, she lost friends and was even bullied for having cancer. She spent a lot of time indoors and jumped into gaming. After some time, she started streaming on Twitch, creating a place where everyone would be included and treated fairly, as well as a place where, since Brenda started doing charity streams, she has raised over $4,000 for LLS while playing games like League of Legends, Dead by Daylight, and Halo. And alongside, we recognize Hero of the Game for LLS as the player that made the biggest impact in the match played. Whether it was a clutch play, a sacrifice, or provided strong leadership when it mattered most, I'm going to say it, today's MVP and LLS Hero of the Game is going to be Gecko. You know, a player in my mind, you know, who, when I'm talking about the pressure that is being put on from this team, yeah, you could look at Anthrax, and he's one of those guys who's just always going to be aggressive, but inside of that Tuscan, I was seeing a lot of big plays coming from Gecko, especially on their offensive rounds, you know, just to open up a way for them to get to that B zone, and I think he's just the player that made the biggest impact in that map number 3 to get this 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Gecko was, from start to finish, maps even 1 and 2 had incredible performances, but very subtle plays that changed the entire complexion and outcome of this series. I don't think there's a better player.
I don't think so either, but that's going to be all for our match number 1, folks. Coming up next on stream, we got 2 Titans, the number 1, number 2 college team in Call of Duty. We got the Northwood Timberwolves versus the Bay State Bulldogs. You don't want to miss it. Quick break. We'll be right back. Folks, we are back after a break and here with two teams who I'm so excited to see on stream. We got the two Titans going head-to-head here in Collegiate Call of Duty. The Northwood Timberwolves versus the Bay State Bulldogs. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is McCornmeal. We are ready to get this show on the road. I mean, Corn, talk to me a little bit about these two teams because, I mean, some may say they don't need any introduction, but for people who may be a little unfamiliar with them, let's talk about it.
So basically here, you've got two teams who are not only at the top of the collegiate level, but also have players who are at the top level at the amateur scene of Call of Duty, and previous world champions of Call of Duty, that being in Silly on Bay State, of course, paired with Druxy, Dylan, and Phantoms, and Dylan Rex and Phantoms, also a very long-standing duo for the last few years in Call of Duty, so they're no strangers to each other. Silly, Druxy, no strangers to each other. This is a full team of Bay State that has not only what it takes to get it done, but some of the smartest Call of Duty players in existence. And then you look at the flip side for Northwood, and the same thing could be said. Maybe not world champions, but still at the very top game of Call of Duty when it comes to the amateur scene. Fame, Chris Radial, tons of experience together. Infinite Bank, you could say the same thing again. So it's like basically you take a couple of duos or at least people who have a lot of practice with one another. You put them together on both teams. You throw them in a map, and you say, "Go get them, boys."
Go get them, boys. Yeah, I mean, that's one great way to put it. Two very prestigious teams. You know, when their kind of resume is shining like this, it is definitely going to be a head-to-head matchup that we are excited to watch out for. And yes, it says second seed for Bay State and third seed for Northwood University, but I mean, these two teams in the power rankings of collegiate Call of Duty, specifically CCL, I mean, these are the number 1, number 2 teams who have been ranked from many people, you know, ranking them as well. So we got to look forward to that as well. But looking at the series, I mean, you can't go in setting up the series without talking about the history of these two teams in a head-to-head, because we saw them play previously in the CCL against each other back on Tuesday, and it went to a game 5. It was exciting, but I mean, talk to me a little bit about that head-to-head, because that match was very interesting from both teams.
So it was what looked like it was going to be a 3-0, basically, at the very start for Bay State. They started off really strong, maps 1 and 2. It was concise, it was well-rounded, and then map 3 came about, and then it was Northwood who kind of took advantage in the series with a little bit of momentum, and then a crazy comeback map number 4, which led into a final map of Berlin for the Search and Destroy. Colin, we watched it. We were disappointed at the end of the day, because with Northwood, it was like, okay, are they going to have a reverse sweep against these? I'm like, dude, let's go. Like, this is going to be crazy. The storylines are going to be chaotic. Everybody on Twitter is going to be up in arms. And then Bay State won 6-1. So it was like, you know, all of this was kind of for nothing. It prolonged the series, but it gave us a great series of Call of Duty to watch. And of course, now we have that precursor of, hey, this is information that we have.
You're right.
Is it going to happen again? Colin, we'll take a look at the map set in just a moment. But I mean, we have repeats.
We have repeats. We have, you know, a rematch here between these two teams. A little bit of a revenge story for Northwood, and Bay State just looking to get the job done like they do. It's strictly business over there. And in this best of 5, we're only getting one repeat map, and that is that Desert Siege Search and Destroy. But aside from that, we got Gavatou Hardpoint, Desert Siege for map number 2, Tuscan for map 3, and in the series, if we go the distance, Berlin Hardpoint and Tuscan Search to close this one out. How are you feeling about this? I mean, we get that repeat. Desert Siege wasn't the best for Northwood, but it looks like they want to go there this time.
I mean, you look at the previous series, map 1 was Berlin, you now go to Gavatou, and there's a certain change of pace on this map that is obviously going to favor your ARs more than anything else. And for that being the pick from Bay State, I think they're a lot more comfortable when it comes to playing as a kind of combined unit on a longer range map such as Gavatou. But at the same time, you know, I think it also can favor into what Northwood want to bring together. You think of players like Fame specifically, who not only is a very strong and powerful AR in the amateur scene, but, you know, consistently running around as, you know, one of the top 5 to 10 ARs inside of Call of Duty that's not in the CDL at current. Right. So that's a big exclamation mark. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, I guess we'll save a little Search and Destroy talk for later, but he didn't have a great game number 5 performance, but that doesn't take anything away from what we could see in map number 1. I think this has its ups and downs for both teams on map 1, but at the end of the day, I still think, again, even though it is Bay State's pick, I still think they should win this map.
It is going to be an interesting one when we do reach it, but a change in hardpoint for map number 1. You get the Gavatou hardpoint to open this one up. You talk about the ARs and how prestigious they are on both sides. I mean, aside from that, if you are looking at Northwood to start off strong, who do you need to highlight here? I mean, you talked about this team, but who do you have your eyes on inside of this Gavatou to make a difference?
I mean, see, for Bay State, you know, I would love to say, you know, you could go to Silly immediately as a previous world champion and a player inside of Call of Duty that has proven tons, not only inside of the last couple of years, but in Vanguard. I would say specifically, though, if I'm looking to Bay State, I'm taking the duo of Dylan and Phantoms. Because as we've seen time and time again throughout the entirety of amateur Call of Duty, I don't know what it is about those two players, but somehow, some way, they find each other on the map and they make it work. And that is one of the most beautiful things I have seen in my kind of short, like slash long career of casting the top level of Call of Duty. I think back to last year. I think back to Trash, but I think of UTC. I think of all these different teams that have experienced and played up with and or against Dylan and Phantoms, and what they bring to the table on any map at any given time is invaluable.
No, it is, and it's this level of just experience that a lot of teams, they don't have compared to Bay State. And when we even moves past that, the experience they have and the players they know and the top level Call of Duty that they play, they get good practice behind the scenes too, and it really elevates it to a level that a lot of CCL teams or a lot of collegiate teams don't really get to see it. And that is ultimately, I mean, just paying off in dividends for this Bay State squad when it does push into these maps. But, you know, to move on forward to this, as we have been highlighting a lot, the Search and Destroys in the second map, that Desert Siege, you know, you get the repeat. We're talking about that, but I want to talk, you know, a little bit beyond just having those maps, because the Search and Destroys, you know, when these two teams matched up to each other on Tuesday, Northwood, they only won 3 of them. They only won 3 rounds, not three maps. They only won 3 rounds across both maps, and that is just not something you really can continue with. If you're moving into the series, you need to see adjustments, and in a Search and Destroy, where would you like to see adjustments from Northwood?
I think the big thing that, at least for Northwood, that was a problem against Bay State, you could easily point to First Bloods being a priority that you need to fix, but individual performances along at the same time are going to be absolutely necessary if Northwood wants to take S&Ds. You can go back to the Game 5 performance from Chris in Fame specifically. Fame had a 1-in-7 performance. That's uncharacteristic for Fame when it comes to Search and Destroys. I mean, you go back to last year in Cold War, and even this year in Vanguard, you're going to see Kev icing up in those situations, especially map number 5s 99% of the time, and for him to not have really an impact in maps 2 or 5 in those S&Ds, it was very jarring. The same thing can be said about Chris. And when Chris and Fame aren't on the same page and nobody's really able to step up to the plate, nobody was positive in the Search and Destroy in Game 5 for the side of Northwood. So again, it's individual performances that need to be there. You know, maybe it's not one big play, but maybe it's a consistency through rounds that gets the rest of the team rallied and able to push forward. That's what has to be there for Northwood in S&Ds. And if we don't see that, it's going to be another Bay State win.
Right, and we are getting these players ready and into this one, and you'd like to see those changes happen as soon as we do get them into the lobby. But as soon as we get them, folks, we will push into this Gavin 2 hardpoint as quick as possible. But Alex, I mean, we're bringing up so many points about these two teams, going and matching up against each other. We're looking at the overall, the broadness and the changes that you need to make, throughout the series. If you're looking at Northwood to take down the top team so far, a team who very well, or two teams who very well could be matching up again back in the grand finals. I mean, if Northwood wants to take this, I mean, where are we looking at in maps?
Maps, I mean, first and foremost, you got to win map 1. The hard points, specifically the S&D resume that you have against Bay State, it's not looking good. We just touched on that. So if you want to start this off, if you want to be at the top of your game, if you want to beat Bay State, you take map number 1, and you don't have to go back and try for a reverse sweep like you did in the CCL just a week ago. So look, I could sit here and kind of fluff this any sort of way. If you're going to beat Bay State, you have to be perfect or near perfect to be able to beat them. And if you can't do that, you're going to lose the series. It doesn't matter if you win map 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You got to win 3 of them. You got to make it count. And right now, it doesn't look like the S&D, so the only other options are win your respawns. Well,
folks, I mean, it's a big one. And like we talked about, if you are looking at this matchup for anything, I mean, this definitely could lead to a rematch into the grand finals between these two teams and how good they are. So a win here, it could mean the advantage going into those grand finals. But when we get these players populated and ready to go into this Gavin 2 hardpoint, we're going to cut to a break, get things situated. When we come back, we're going to hop right into the action. We'll see you in a bit. Folks, we are back here with the Call of Duty Varsity League. My name is Seymour. Alongside me is McCormiel. We're getting ready to hop into map number 1 between two Titans and Bay State Bulldogs and the Northwood Timberwolves. But before that, I'm going to tell you about iFolio. If you want to get the digital edge, generate leads and conversions, it is more important than ever to build your digital presence and ensure that you can personalize and share your info right from a mobile to both text and email. With iFolio's digital platform, you can easily create and share modern business card pages, custom landing pages, and impactful presentations with calls to action, click to call, and click to email. Patented analytics allow you to see what specific people are viewing. There's no digital platform or digital portfolio platform more powerful than iFolio. Find out more today at iFolio or ifoliocorp.com. Corn, this matchup, I mean, we're ready for it. Cavatu Hardpoint, Bay State Bulldogs, Northwood Timberwolves. This is an exciting one.
It is. And, you know, if we didn't go ahead and vamp enough during that first little portion there, let's do it some more. Map number 1, Hardpoint. Obviously, we're going to be seeing ourselves on a Gavutu or Gravutu for the Hardpoint as we get into it. You know, Seymour.
Just Call of Duty things.
As we look ahead to an entire series full of what should be great Call of Duty, you know, this kind of feels like, as you said beforehand, that matchup that is going to be a precursor of who might get the advantage in the grand final. Because we kind of skimmed over it. I really want to hit this hard. These are the two best teams in collegiate Call of Duty right
Easily.
now. You know, you could maybe throw Ottawa up there in towards the top in that conversation, but you know, it really there's a gap between like the top 3 and they're not number 3 for these two teams right now. And as we continue to get deeper into the season here inside of NACE, other collegiate leagues and whatnot, we've seen a big gap come out from not only these two teams, but just where other teams are when they go ahead and face up against the likes of Bay State and Northwood. So that's why, at least in my humble opinion, and Colin, I know you share the same sentiment, this could very well leave one team who has to not only go, obviously, one of these teams will have to go through the lower bracket, but it's just going to be which team, if they get back to the grand finals through the lower bracket, which should happen, will have that advantage going into that best of 5 series, and who will have to win 2 versus who will only have to win 1 to win the grand final.
And you want to make sure it's a close one too, because if you come back to the grand final, what it looks like is you don't only have to win 1 best of 5, but you got to win 2 best of 5s to take them down. So, I mean, it just makes it even more difficult when you're looking at that rematch back in the grand finals. You know, this is all just hypothetics. We all pulling strings to theories, but I mean, when you look at these two teams and the history that they have, I mean, that theory definitely could be possible when you're looking at the end of this season. So it's going to be a big match here to decide plenty of other things, you know, barring any upsets down in the lower bracket that falls to one of these teams. But I mean, when we're talking about the series in general, I mean, it's not just, you know, the precursor to what could be a grand final match, but it's also a rematch to what we saw earlier this week. Just to touch on things again, these two teams, they went game 5. It almost was a reverse sweep from Northwood, but I mean, that wasn't the case back in that game number 5. And Bay State, they're a strong search and destroy team. So if you're Northwood, you don't want to be forced in that position again. we're looking at this map number 1 as soon as we get into it to be their success story and to be the means to change things up a little bit. And if you're talking about Northwood in general, a team who, a lot of people will say they don't get a lot of practice together. And if you're looking at them to make any changes into this one, I hope it was practice. I hope this team looked over that match that they had against Bay State and they really ironed things out, because I need to see major adjustments out of them.
Yeah, as we are trying to get the lobby and everything put together, I believe that there was an update that hit, so it's going to be just a bit longer, so we will continue to vamp here and talk about this series a bit further. But I will say this, for Northwood, we kind of went over the necessities for them to, if you want to win this series, you take your respawns. If we see them take an S&D, now I don't know if they will, but if we do, I think it's going to come from a very strong effort from Fame. And I hate to put it on one player specifically, but I know when Fame gets going, the rest of the team is able to get going around Kevin. If that happens, if they're able to go ahead, push that agenda forward, I think that's how they're gonna have to win the S&Ds. Now that's my opinion, but I don't really see any other way. Specifically, just looking at scoreboards and how everything played out in the first 2 S&Ds between these teams.
For people wondering, it was a 6-2 Desert Siege Search and Destroy win for Bay State back on Tuesday, and a 6-1 on Berlin Search and Destroy. You just think about that, and that speaks so many different numbers. But it was uncharacteristic. Core. I mean, for a lot of things, the numbers that we had from these players, things, performances, stats that we were looking at. So hopefully they made those adjustments. Hopefully we can see a different Northwood today, and it's going to be starting here on Gavitu Hardpoint.
Love to see it. Dash for the P1 hill. Chris Radio will open things up with the first blood. First 5 seconds. We'll go to the side of Northwood. Bay State looking to break on in, but so far it's been the ARs and the SMGs of Northwood that have led the way to double digits. The team kill there with a stun's going to come through, but more importantly than anything else, it's going to be a nice little break there with Silly finding the last one of the Northwood boys. Bay State pretty broken on it.
And a lot of blue in the feed together, but it was Lonesome Silly to get the last laugh. And now Northwood looking from the outside in, see if they can re-break this hill 1 for the last 20 seconds. But look at that, Rex and Silly going to cut down 2. Radial is going to be looking to still make this play, but really slow out of Northwood to retake that. And Bay State, who are already set up now, in a good position to rotate to the second hill.
And it's going to be pushed out on an island right now. 1 versus 3 around the point. Peppers up Fame. We'll back off. The rest of the boys of Northwood now can start making their way up the map. Dylan Rex in the middle. Finally traded out. Was able to find 2 on 5 in a row. 6 in 2 to start off the game here for Bay State. Infinite tries to snap onto the second. But what was an early rotation there from Northwood initially did go to the side of Bay State. However, they found their way back in on into the hill. Now they can just play their long-range angles from the top of the boat, find them power positions, and more importantly, the hill time to go with it.
We see this oftentimes, back and forth inside Gavitu Hardpoint, but Bay State not looking to let that happen. They find the re-breaks. Druxy collecting time. 0-4 start as well, so looking to be the player to collect as much as possible, but Northwood not going to let that happen for too long. They break back in. Radial finds 2, and now Bay State in a position with 20 seconds left on this hill, possibly looking to set up strong for hill 3.
Big contestants here so far between both of the teams. Rotation, though, for Bay State. As you see those red arrows on that right portion of the minimap, all the way by where that key lock is. That'll be where P3 is going to pop and set up for the next 60 seconds. So we're going to be about even, about 42 apiece. Northwood will just edge that out for another lead change. And of course, Bay State will go ahead and tack a little bit of time on here. 7-6 for Chris Radio leads the way from Northwood. Bay State, though, you look to Dylan Rex, who's at 9-4, getting the hill time to go with it as well.
Phantom's cutting them down through the middle of the map, so Northwood, they really can't attack this from the beaches safely. Look at Silly, this positioning, so cheeky, and cuts down Radial inside P1 ring, and finally Bink looking to make a move, catches a nade, slows him down. Druxy cleans it up, and Druxy 2-6, like I said, have been able to put something together towards this hill number 3, but look at the time that Bay State are accumulating now. 30-point advantage after what was an even game towards the start of the hill, and Northwood now in a position where you really realistically you have to just answer back with a perfect hill going into this next one.
You got a handshake P4. And the thing is obviously, as I said beforehand, 1 and 2, they were scrappy, they were back and forth, they were heavily contested by both teams, led us about dead even. This is the first big hold we've seen from a team here on Gavutu. So with Bay State having that advantage, now you're pushing through that north side of the map. Those spawns are going to be parallel for Northwood, so they're going to have a foot race all the way back to the hill. If you're Infinite, you got to stay alive here. You got to wait for the reinforcements. You got to win these one-on-one engagements all the way in the back. You're going to be able to find one. The second one there, going to be a 3-1 trade for Northwood, who will hold on to the hill.
Wonderful team play from Northwood to hold on early now. Time to set up in these power positions and just make sure that Bay State don't have the numbers moving on forward. And Chris Radial making sure that P1 is under his control. Nobody on Bay State can push the line of scrimmage to the 50-yard line because of Chris Radial in this position now 4 in a row with wonderful timing onto the players of Bay State. Now 5 in a row looking for streaks. This is pure dominance in Hill 4 from the Timberwolves.
Like you said, Northwood's going to have to go ahead, hold a full 60, like Bay State did at P3. That's exactly what they'll do here. They will be down by about 5 points going over towards P5. But really right now, the biggest kill on the map was Dylan Rex finding Infinite at the top. That's going to take down the power position of the top third on the boat. And now Chris Radial and everybody else can start making their way across the map, who is, of course, on 8 in a row. So we'll hop on board now, in towards the point. Infinite around, Fame making their way forward. And why not give Chris Radial number 9 in a row, finally traded out from Silly from behind. If you look to Bay State, though, there's one ugly eyesore, and it's 2 and 12 from Druxy.
And usually Druxy, I mean, the talent for this team, you know, has had wonderful showings, but not showing up here inside of this game. We get a lead change for Northwood's favor, 112 to 100, 37 seconds still to collect. Plenty of Bay State players here ready to push on out through these boundaries to retake this hill, but not being able to do this together. Look at who it is. Chris Radial on the flank to cut down 1 is going to allow Fame from the front line to line up 2, and that shuts down the Bulldogs here inside P5. Fame now 3 in a row before going down to Druxy, but really doing it all here. The duo of Fame and Radial to hold on to P5.
Bay State has barely gotten a single point since P2 had popped, or excuse me, P4 had popped after P3. It was like, what was it, 100 to about 46 at the time. Northwood got the lion's share of P4, went to P5, did the same thing there. Finally, Bay State have found themselves in a residential area of P1, but for how long? The guns are blazing right now from Northwood. Everybody's firing on all the cylinders. All it's going to come down to is if one coordinated break can make this happen. Streak going to come in over the top, as well as going to be Chris Radial, who's going to find one out on the outskirts of the beach.
He opens it up, but where's the follow-up coming through? Bink to find Druxy. Numbers now to Northwood in to get into this contention. Radial's going to take down Phantoms and snaps to Silly. That's the break from Northwood. Now, big change into the second set of rotations. You know, well, the second half of the first rotations, Alex, it was Northwood's pre-setups, you know, to a lot of these hills. And, you know, the setups that I'm seeing from them are wonderful, and it has accumulated this lead, and Chris is just going nuts. 24 and 13. You know, just one of those players right now, turning up on the hill to deny Bay State of any presence.
I mean, look, ARs are very impressive and aggressive, and very influential, more importantly than anything else, on the map like Gavutu. Chris Radial, when you're able to move around the map with an AR like a sub, that's when it gets that much more oppressive. So 25 and 14, great performance here to start off so far. Northwood and everybody else slaying another 4-to-1 trade on the side of Bay State. Everybody coming off spawn. Chris Radial just trying to make another one stick. Finally, we'll get cut down and towards the bottom of the boat. You just got to go ahead and hold this time here as Bay State are trying to go ahead and even things out. It's a pinstripe kill free that goes for 3-2.
Northwood still in control. Infinite wants to hit the top deck. Use the overhead on these players sieging this hill. Wonderful shot from Silly, but it's Northwood to go 2 for 2. Continuing on with this pressure. 1-on-1 for the hill. Bink's going to win it. That's more time to Northwood here, but Bink getting a little aggressive will spoil the rest of it. Bay State back in for hopefully the last 20 seconds. You still get one last shot of this if you're Northwood because you have the better spawn. So you do see player Fame try to hit that hill, but 10 seconds of scrap time that Bay State are looking to pick up, and all eyes are going to be on the rotation to 3.
Challenge around the corner. In the corner, Infinite stays still. Bink will slide around. But another one, huge one-on-one there versus Druxy. 6 in 21 here on the map. Again, that's raw kills. We don't get to see EKIA, so might be helping out the teammates in a lot more important ways than anything else. But with only 33 seconds in the hill, again, that's just something that cannot happen. Bay State, though, trying to break back over towards B3. Again, this is where they got that full 60 seconds of time earlier on in the game. However, it's been a full rotation of hard points all the way back to this point, Seymour, and they only have 41 points to show for it.
And Fame makes the play to push through the middle of the map. He's going to deny this ring pressure. Northwood seizing control of Gavutu, looking for their way into the series early. You're going to have one last contention here from Bay State, but they have to be careful to get a little bit too aggressive because you look at the minimap and you see Bink is making a move over to P3. You lose the scrap time. You don't want to lose the rotations, but Bink, he finds the opening to the cliffside.
Bay State are rotated. Northwood got 45, almost 50 full seconds of time on P4 the last time through. You got to be able to break through the belly of the beast this time, though, because Bay State with a full 60 here could be within striking distance. 20 points away they would be on Northwood. Slow push through the front right now, keeping Bay State on their toes, guessing and second guessing. Infinite Fame, first 2 kills. Now it's a 4 versus 2 back to the point. Silly in the corner, a couple of shots there from Infinite's gonna bait him around. Now it's all of a sudden already in the kill feed. Infinite's the last one here. Phantoms will break back in, and what was a good initial break from Northwood, they just took too much time and allowed Bay State to recoup.
That's a big moment to wipe the sweat off your forehead if you're the Bulldogs here. You're still getting pressure. Bacon Infinite. They nade spam the hill. They're going to find 2-3. Go down from Bay State for the break back into the late spawns. And look at this. You got Bay State trapped back P4. Northwood in control of this hill. 15 seconds will get them so close to finishing it out. And if you look at the mini-map, player number 4, Infinite, he knows the win condition. He's looking to lock things down over at P5.
32 and 22 from Chris Radial. Tries to turn around. That's going to get the last couple of seconds of time. But more importantly, the rotations all the way across the map. Player number 1's going to spawn close. You're just trying to push everybody back on Bay State, not allow them to get over towards the point. We said you got to win map number 1. How about Northwood will take it 250 to 166. Smack in the mouth to Bay State. Hey, guess what, Seymour? That was Bay State's map pick.
Bay State's map pip, but Northwood came prepared. I mean, a big thing throughout that whole map. That was an adjustment into the second set of rotations. Not even the second set, the first or the second half of the first set were general rotations out of Northwood. And they were doing a fantastic job at making sure that they were focusing one step ahead of Bay State. Constant times, you saw the breaks early into a hill, and then you'd see one player moving on to rotate to the next from Northwood. And Bay State, they just couldn't stand tall. They couldn't hold on for long. You were both losing gunfights inside the hill and losing gunfights on the rotation. And that's just a recipe that is not going to work out when you're looking to win a map number 1. And you can't talk about that first map without talking about Druxy. I mean, those numbers inside of Respawn, you know, especially when you're looking at these two teams and the prestige they have, I mean, those numbers just aren't going to cut it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Look, I get it, big pressure performance, and that's not going to stick most likely towards 2 through 4. If we go to 4, maybe we only go to 3. But the next few maps, Druxy shouldn't be playing that same way. He's going to be able to step that up. It's an uncharacteristic map, sure, but I mean, everybody inside of these two teams, I'm not going to sit there and be like, wow, really, really bad performance. I hope this doesn't carry over. I know everybody here has the composure and the availability to bounce back from a map like that inside of the next map in the series. So that's not something that's going to really harken too much on my mindset. But again, at the same time, barely breaking double digits inside the game, that's a shock for sure. So that was one of those moments. Again, I referenced in the last series, it's more or less like a handshakes, GG's, thank you for coming out. We'll see you in map 2. It was not a good performance from Druxy personally. But Bay State as a whole, they almost lost that map by 100 points, and this was a team that we considered to maybe even have the potential to once again 3-0 Northwood in the series. So now this changes everything. This changes our talking points of what we want to see for the rest of this series. Now going into an S&D on Desert Siege, where Bay State won the last time, Northwood, this is their map pick this time.
Well, obviously, you can see, I mean, this is the college league. They've done their homework. They've been studying. And Northwood, they come out swinging into the first map. Now, leading into it definitely puts a little bit of a blip in our predictions and our, setup to this whole thing. You take the hard point, you're going to the search and destroy, now vibing. And you saw Northwood back in that match on Tuesday. What was it that brought him to a game 5? It was momentum. It was pure momentum that brought him to that game 5. They hit the upset in map number 4. They get into the search and destroy, and they fall a little bit flat in the searches. But, this
little?
I'm trying to sugarcoat it here for these two teams. But you're going into the second map right now, Corn, and you're looking at a Northwood who obviously has done some homework going into this rematch, and they're looking for a little bit of revenge. There's blood on their eyes.
I misspoke beforehand as well. I was just kind of watching back because I didn't get to fully see the scoreboard there at the end. It was 9 and 27 from Druxy, so it wasn't even double digits. It was single digits and triple negative. So, I didn't want to bring that back up, but I felt like I had to do service to the people at home. I know I said barely broke double digits. He didn't do that. So Druxy, we're sending love your way. I know it was a painful map 1. Hopefully you can start to turn that around in the Desert Siege for map 2. But this is exactly the performance that Northwood can capitalize upon and then take into the map number 2. Because if you have a player in their head already after map number 1, again, I said that I don't think that's going to be a factor, but say it does. Say it is a factor.
You're right.
we're looking at a completely different series now based off of that fact alone.
Now, you're looking, you're putting a lot of focus on Druxy here, and as you should with that whole position. But, for folks just at home, we might be like, yeah, we're being a little bit harsh on him, for sure. But, when you look at this as the number 1, number 2 team, it's just inexcusable at that point.
Agreed.
And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. It's going to be a factor into map number 2, but it's just red alert. I mean, eyes are going to be on Druxy to pick it up into map number 2, and you're looking at Desert Siege to be the change. Luckily for him, Desert Siege is a lot slower, than a respawn. A lot slower than a respawn. So chances for Druxy, to play at a different pace, play at a different tempo. And if I'm base state right now, I'm really looking into this map number 2 to maybe boost the morale of your team. See if you can enable Druxy a little bit more on this map, and you're going to be right back into form. You want to boost the confidence right now in your team.
Well, enough with the negative. Let's just recap one more time, map 1, and talk about the positives for Northwood. Chris Radial. Let's talk about Chris for a second, because
where do we start?
That guy, well, first and foremost, what a cute guy, right? But second of all, overall, it's the fact of a 9 streak to go ahead and get full streaks and then be able to use that a little bit later on, especially breaking back towards P1, where you got tons of very good time before you eventually swapped over towards P2. But it didn't stop there. It was a 6 spree later on that barely didn't get another set of full streaks. It was a couple 4s and 5s here and there. And Chris Radial just had a very good game on Kavutu. What I said earlier on in the series was, hey, if you want to win the Search and Destroys, I want to see a really big performance out of Fame. I didn't expect that necessarily out of Chris Radial. Now, it's not uncommon for Chris Radial to do that.
Right.
I just didn't necessarily expect it on the first hard point. But again, it's little keys in the ignition, little sparks that ignite the flame and start the forest fires that really get teams going. That's Chris Radial.
Hey, and we put a lot of pressure on Druxy for the second map, but we also, you look on the other side and you see Northwood, in those Search and Destroys, it was Fame and Radial really underperforming, and to see them stepping up in that hard point, it really shows you that there's a breath of life in this Northwood roster looking for revenge. So hopping into this Desert Siege, eyes on a lot of players here to continue with this performance and boost it up. We're hopping on board with Silly looking for first blood, and he doesn't catch the information on Bank Crossing. Couldn't see him past that truck, so looks like Northwood looking to take a shot at B. Nice nade on a Phantoms. Radial opens up with first blood.
Shocker. Bomb goes down. 45 seconds left. Druxy isn't going to push around the corner just yet, waiting for the rest of the team to make a move. But now that they have the audio cue and, of course, the visual as well, they can start making that rotation over. Problem, Bank finds a second kill in the round for Northwood. 4 versus 2, 35 seconds left, and Chris is on another pesky flank. He actually spotted the player over towards the right, but Druxy gets traded out by a few teammates. That's 2 in the opening round for Chris Radial, and yet again, finding his way in another map.
Wasn't a flawless round. You lost one player, but it was near flawless. As you can see, Fame cleaning up Druxy in the final kill. What a set strategy out of Northwood. You can see that they're coming in with a new turned leaf, I guess you could say, with it. That set nade onto Phantoms, definitely practiced in total. Oh my goodness, I thought the bar was going to be coming out.
I thought he was bringing up the bar. I was like, I guess like after the map 1 performance, I guess like you got to do something.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But no, it's going to go back.
With a 4 times optic was going to be the one to get it done. But hey, what do I know?
That looks like a casual gun coming out here, not a competitive loadout. But Bank might have just spotted out Druxy, and 2 players here. A lot of pressure towards the A site from Bay State, and Northwood should know this because Fame is seeing nobody towards B.
So looking to open things up with the first blood. Chris, top of the building, might be able to get a nice nade over towards Dylan. Knows he's behind the barrier. Not going to be able to find anything with it, though. So, nothing off the board just yet. 40 seconds have gone off the clock. Druxy, Bay State, trying to bring this bomb over towards A. It's a widespread here hold for Northwood on the defensive side. Could be nice, especially after another blood from Chris Radial. That's the second in the game. Still slaying.
It's not out of the picture to rotate over to B. You still have Phantoms over there, but, the time is dwindling. You don't have a lot of time to pivot this. If you're Druxy, and it looks like he is going to commit over towards this A site, gets spotted out, dropped to 43 HP. Now looking to finesse his life, but Radial spots him out now, 4v2. Here we see them collapsing on the rest of the Bay State roster, but Silly making his name known is going to take down 2. Lines them up 1v1 here. Phantoms versus Infinite, but only 12 seconds left. Infinite, he just needs to play his life. He needs to back up, burn that clock, force Phantoms to make a play to get this bomb down, and it should be Northwood's second round on the map. 3 seconds left. Phantoms, it's a game of hide and seek, and as the seeker, you're not going to find where Infinite is. That's going to be 2-0 for Northwood to open up this Search and Destroy. Already making the necessary adjustments to look better on the map.
You know, I get trying to play an off angle, maybe play for a pick. But I don't know why Phantoms was so far stretched across the map over there towards that B side, especially knowing that the bomb was down and Silly was already in a 1 versus 2 scenario. You got to think you got to be pushing over towards that left side of the map just a bit faster. Either way, though, you were able to find a kill onto the player that was in the back, so I guess all is well in Love and War. However, it's another first blood for Northwood, this time in the hands of Bink. 4 versus 3, bomb in the hands of Infinite, just trying to get this worked in towards the middle building. Silly opens the door up in the top. Well, it's peekaboo, but unfortunately this time you're just scaring yourself to death.
Silly's like, hey, what's going on out here? And Infinite says, don't mind us. We are just dominating the kill feed right now. 3-on-2. Bomb going down towards the A side. Infinite to drop it. You look at base state for the retake. It's only going to be these 2 players in Druxy and Phantoms. And Druxy, that's a good start, but you need to wait for Phantoms on this flank.
Bink looks at the top. Oh, some bad timing there. Might have been able to spot out Druxy. 2 versus 2 still. 30 seconds left. Time to be able to take back. Nice Druxy with a beautiful nade up and over the top. It's going to be Chris. Oh, down to a 1 versus 2. Oh, he's going to be able to find the first. No, he can't get Phantoms, though. So he leaves the second one alive. I love the trigger discipline play there. You try to play for the second player knowing that the other is going to be running out in front of you. Unfortunately, it's just bad timing as Phantoms was able to turn around directly in the middle of the map, which was really weird, specifically because his teammate just came from that area. Just some really good timing overall. And Bay State will get their first round on the board. That was almost a round, Colin, where I was going to say, hey, Bay State, got as many rounds won here on this Desert Siege than you did throughout the entire series against Bay State last time you played.
I was about to go nuts if Radel found that on Phantoms, but
oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you said it at the start of the show. I mean, Phantoms is just a player who gets the job done for a lot of teams, and right there, he does it again. And yeah, Northwood doing better here, but still looking to hold their lead. Bay State on pace to tie this up, but again, they're going for the A side. And last time around, they spent so much time waiting for this A side to present itself for a plant, but they had no time at the end to pivot back to B. So they have to be careful not to get trapped here. You still have Phantoms lurking to go toe-to-toe with Fame over towards B. And I like that Druxy hasn't just pushed up as far into A as he did last round.
Slowly make their way over towards B. Sniper out from Dylan. Looks toward the top, won't be able to find anything. So Druxy plants it for their side. Northwood's going to get the audio cue, the visualization. Now it can move back over towards that B site. You look to Fame, he's playing all the way out towards that left side of the map, and it's Chris who gets another first blood.
University control now for Northwood. 32 seconds to get this retake. You look how far Rex is playing back in his spawn. Looking to cut off these rotations, but Big should be in a position to shut him down. You're losing players fast if you're Bay State, and Rex is all the way in the spawn. Hasn't made a play. Only a sniper in hand. I mean, that's a nice shot, but you got 17 seconds to make this happen in a 1v4. And Northwood, they have already picked you apart one by one. I mean, you get that bomb down at B, it's all nice and dandy, but I mean, a 4-on-4 retake, and as soon as you have full control of University, I mean, there was just so many lines of opportunity for Northwood to push out for that retake with numbers advantage. I mean, Bay State, they look so discombobulated right now. They just look so, I guess, disconnected from each other, Corn, that they don't look like the same Bay State that we've seen in the past. So I need to start seeing them work off of each other a lot more. I mean, they get the bomb down, but they're taking so many one-on-ones.
A lot of one-on-ones, but I mean, like, at the same time, it's very difficult when, like, even though you're pushing 2 into the middle building, you're still allowing Chris Radio to be able to find not only first bloods, but 2 to 3 in a round. He was on 3 there, finally gets cut down off of the streak. The 7-3 leading the way for Northwood. I said it was Fame who would have to turn up in the S&Ds. Chris Radio is doing exactly that. A 3-1 lead for Northwood has been great here to resurrect what they had the last time they played against Bay State. That was only on Tuesday, so I mean, it really hasn't been much time between these games. But with 55 seconds left in the round, the bomb still has to make his way up the map, and you're in a 2 versus 4.
Oh, Infinite looking to make a play up top. Watch out Silly, but Silly sees him too. Still a good fight coming up for Infinite. It is going to make this a 2v3, and it's out in dodge to play his life. Only opportunity right now for Bomb Plant will be this B site where Phantom does rain over, but it gets the side out. Bink pinching this one out. Phantoms doesn't know that he's getting trapped right here. Bay's going to find the kill, opens up the B site for a plant.
If you're Druxy, you don't want to burst out because they're going to be able to spot you out. So that's information on where those players are going to be rotating from on Bay State. Druxy now back to play with Dylan. From the spawn side, the Northwood players Just got to look around the map. Bink with the AR over towards the left. It's actually going to spot out one. Doesn't get the shots, gives away himself and the information now to the side of Bay State. They don't know where Infinite is, but he could make a beautiful flank all the way up and towards the top. Bink finds one, though, on a Dylan Rex. Now it's a 1 versus 2. Druxy trying to get up close to the bomb. Bink's going to rate it oh so perfectly. And now a 4-1 lead here, 2 rounds away from a 2-0 lead for Northwood.
I was going to say, if Bink goes down there in that situation, it's such a strong opportunity for Bay State. But as soon as Infinite found his way into University and was basically behind both players, he was in a position to shut that down, even if it was a 1-on-2. So Northwood, they are so decisive right now. They're playing out of their minds. And you got Bink on 4 in a row right now, really turning up for his team. I mean, this is just a brand new Northwood. We talked about Bay State and all their success. Well, I'm going to talk about a little bit of their blunders so far. I mean, you look at that win against Northwood in Search and Destroy. Well, last Wednesday, I mean, versus ICC, it was Bay State who fell to ICC in a Search and Destroy. And now looking to lose another search, this time to Northwood. This is just a tough spot to see Bay State in.
What a week's worth of practice can do to a team. Druxy was behind 1, doesn't actually realize that, though, and we'll wrap back to the spawn side with Dylan. So it's these 2 players once again in a 2v on scenario. This time it's only 3. Druxy over the top doesn't actually realize there's a player directly below him. Has to back all the way off because he realized that Infinite was there as well. 23 seconds, still tons of time to work with here from the defensive side. But if you are Infinite, you're able to slide over towards the bomb. Flank around the backside. Will get caught down. Bink was it 1 versus 1?
He's sticking it.
Dylan, you got to go. I don't understand the mental process there. Like I get like, you know, maybe they're gonna try and push you out, but it's a 2 versus 1 and nobody's pushed you. You gotta feel like he's off the bomb.
5-1 for Northwood. Who would have guessed it? Who would have guessed? A game like this, you know, after seeing what we saw out of Bay State on Tuesday versus this team, I mean, you said it yourself, a week's worth of practice can go a long way, and Northwood are really turning heads in this series. Not only finding gap to hard point,
but like for Northwood. Am I wrong to say that?
You're right.
It looks like a complete flip.
This Northwood team is stepping up when they need to here inside the playoffs, looking to get themselves into the winner's final here. Bink and Infinite, 1-2 punch through University. That's going to open up A. And now 2 players left for Bay State. Druxy making a flank. This needs to be big.
One at the outside. I'm going to spot the second player on the bomb. You know where this player is in Bink. Bink, who's on 6 in a row, though, looking for the streak. We'll be able to find it. So you have a glide bomb now. He's going to call it in immediately. I heard it at the very end there. Bink all the way in the back building. There's a little hole that you can get it through if you might be able to find him, but it's a 2 versus 1. Bomb going to go down. Phantoms to save the S&D here in a 1v2.
Oh, Bink catches the timing, too. Phantom spots him from the top rope. Oh, and it was about to be a 1v1, but Bink is out of his mind. This guy is doing it all for Northwood, and the vibes are immaculate on the Timberwolves side of the playing field. And look at this. He spots just the corner Phantoms. Phantoms knew he was down there, but Bink says, no. No, you're not doing that to me. This is my game. 10-2 to close out that search and destroy. 6-1 for Northwood. And Corn, I could hear you over there. I mean, you were having a blast.
Dude, it's the ping diff, dude. It's the ping diff. But like, I mean, overall, like that's just an exclamation mark on the entire Desert Seas as a whole. So we now go to a map number 3. We go to Tuscan. We see this series shift completely because, you know, keys to success to, you know, kind of bring up his talking points real quick. It was very, very evident that we said, hey, you know, if you're Northwood, you got to win map 1 if you want to have a chance in this series. We were like, if S&D doesn't turn around, that was the big if. If S&D doesn't turn around, you got to win all the respawns inside of the series. They checked that box off for map number 1. Then we went to map 2. And now they checked a completely different box off, and I don't know what to think now because we're going into a map 3 where Northwood could bit 3 other side of Bay State, pending a reverse sweep. And how poetic would it be if Bay State were to go ahead and then now try to reverse sweep Northwood and just completely flip the series like it was inside of the CCL?
It's just a match made in heaven at that point, if they were able to do it. And they are able to do it. I mean, we're going back to the respawns, and Bay State, definitely a scary team inside the respawn. I mean, they're a scary team in general, but right now they don't look like bulldogs. They look like cute dogs right now, and they're rolling over
like little yappers.
Yeah, little yappers that you just can like shove to the side and be like, okay, like, I know you're there, but like right now it's the Northwood show, and the Wolves are, I mean, they're here and they are making their name known as possibly an upset. I want to say an upset. I mean, these two teams are definitely 1 and 2. They're just neck and neck of each other, and this is just the Northwood that you expect to play. A Northwood that we didn't get to see back on Tuesday until maps 3 and 4, and this time around, they're not going to let Bay State have a little bit of leeway going into the back half of the series. And I mean, like you said, Bay State now, they need to reverse sweep to take down Northwood. In the sense, it's poetic. It's exactly what you said, Corn. Poetic. This is exactly the kind of show, I guess, that Bay State wasn't expecting. But Northwood here, they have made some big adjustments.
Well, see, the thing is, like, I'll go back to the point you made about, like, an upset. Like, it's not an upset, but, like, it is, if that makes sense.
You're right.
Because, like, you know, we look at these two teams, we say, yeah, they're at the top of their league. But Bay State hasn't, one, yet to fall, and two, they've looked really good in the series against Northwood beforehand, where people were still convinced that, you know, Bay State was the top team by a mile. And it wasn't necessarily an unfair thing to Northwood. It's just Bay State looked really, really good. Now, was that a great day for them? It was. Is this a good day for Northwood? Sure. But you know, bouncing back and forth between the two series, I think this is opening a lot of people's eyes, because, you know, even you and I came into this series kind of with a premonition of, like, yeah, Bay State's probably going to come out on top of this, just from what we've seen in previous series between both of these two teams. But that's not true at all, and nothing is guaranteed. One of these teams is guaranteed to go down to the loser's bracket. I guess that's the only thing that's guaranteed. But, you know, making it all the way back to the grand finals, a team could catch fire, maybe catch you on a bad day. All of a sudden, you're not even inside of the top 4. So, like, this is technically, again, just like our previous winners round 3 match was, it's a $1,200 match, because you're at least guaranteed top 3, which is, at the very minimum, you'll be getting $1,200 in 3rd place. But that could go even further if you're able to get into the winners finals, and then, of course, the grand finals after the fact. These teams, everybody kind of had them as locks going into the grand finals. Now I'm not so sure, at least right now, just based off of what we've been seeing. Bay State has a lot of faults that have been showing right now. The same can be said for Northwood, though, so I don't think either of these teams is necessarily a lock.
Well said. Nothing's guaranteed in life other than death and taxes, and right now...
And more Call of Duty.
Yeah, and more Call of Duty. And then Call of Duty is a very day-to-day game. We've heard it from plenty of pros. We've heard it from plenty of players, and we know it ourselves. It's a day-to-day game. You know, whoever shows up right now, Northwood showing up, going into this control. I mean, Corn, you're looking at Bay State to get hot early. Most notably, you're looking at Druxy to have a better performance than that hard point on Gavitu. And we saw a little bit of a better performance from him, but really just a lackluster performance from all 4 players. So if Druxy could get hot inside this control, it'd be nice to see. But you're looking at Bay State to just piece things together as a full 4 squad. Off the rip, you see Northwood on the attack. They go to the A zone. They've been picking it apart. They get a tick of progression, but not going to go any farther as Bay State find the retake.
Only time we saw Tuscan in the series previous between Bay State and Northwood was on a map 4 hardpoint, obviously here in control. Still going to be respawn though, and it was Northwood who took that. So if past has anything to do with the present and or the future, well, we could be very well keyed into that. I don't either.
I mean, this is a complete flip. So Bay State, hopefully, in their right, looking to extend this to a map 4, but Northwood off the respawn. You see Infinite making a play over towards the B zone. Has a little bit of backup as well from Bink. Rex here in a 1v2. Spots Infinite. Rips his head right off the pillar. Now expecting a second as well. And Bay State doing a wonderful job on both sides of the field, making sure that Northwood gaining just minimal progression on the A and B zone. And you see Phantom slips through the middle. Shuts down Fame. Still only 1 tick collected from Northwood.
You know, the thing is like Northwood will take these routes to the map and they'll be able to, like, you know, inject their will over towards either the A or the B site. But the second Bay State spawns back up, all of a sudden they have swarmed that 1 or 2 players that have made their way into their spawn side. They cut them down and they're able to push up against the map again. And it's very, very beautiful, but at the same time it's kind of scary because it looks completely different than what we saw on maps number 1 and 2. And that's exactly what they're going to need here inside of this defense to start off this control round. However, Northwood 15 to 15 in terms of lives. Minute 30 left to break over towards that B zone. Now you got Silly directly pushing into your middle map. Your Chris Radial, you just got to play slow here and wait for the reinforcements off spawn.
The reinforcements pulling on in through that A zone. Radial making a play through. Church a little bit over ambitious. He's going to lose his life. Fame snaps onto Silly for 1, but even trade from Bay State to keep their lives in favor towards the B zone. Still Northwood, You know, you said they needed to recollect themselves. They're only doing that now, so a chance all 4 players going to be together. They're looking to overwhelm Silly in the back.
All the way through, spotted out. However, Silly's able to find the shots on the radial. So a 1-to-1 trade goes through. Silly's knocked out of the back, but they're going to get that mid-spawn instead of the church, so they're going to be close enough to be able to reflip that. However, it is player number 2 in Fame on the back, Heglitch, who now gets cut down. So everything that had, you know, kind of an upturn for Northwood kind of gets at least pushed to the side for a little bit of leeway for a second. Dylan, yeah, that's just a gunfight that you're not going to lose.
He's like, Radial has no way in. He's finally going to touch B, but he's already damaged down, and Rex still cleans him up towards that. And you know, I like that play from Northwood to make a full collective push towards the back, but you burned a lot of time to make that happen. Now only 11 seconds left to get this B zone under your control, and you just have no way in. Fame gets cut down. Radial gets cut down. 2 players remaining. You look at this round as Bay State. 3 ticks collected for Northwood inside of it, but Bay State find the first to open up this control, and off of, I'd say, a wonderful bounce back of momentum in their way, but at the same time just shutting down key players on Northwood. You look at Infinite, 0-6.
Doing his best Truxie impression.
Low blow. Low blow.
Look. They won the defensive round there, so they can't be mad at me. 30-30, minute 30 left on the clock. Nade over the top. Bink will find the first blood here in the round, though. As the trade comes in a technical manner all the way across the map, it is going to be the side of Bay State who are pushed on that A zone with really nobody to contest just yet. It's kind of similar to what we saw with St. Clair and Davenport earlier. St. Clair just didn't send anybody outer A, and it allowed their opposition to get basically the A site for free. What happens here?
What happens here is a hopeful pinch from Northwood. Infinite, he's going to double back, finds Rex for the trade. On the ground, it's Struxy. Back and forth from each side, but it's Big walking out on top. Radial spikes down Phantoms through the middle of the map, and what a wonderful retake out of Northwood. Sends Bay State off the respawn.
Nice shots there from Bink. Will knock then and eliminate Silly from contention over towards that 8 point for now. Through the middle of the map, though, 2 players from Bay State making their way through. Crusader will spot 1. Not sure if the other player inside of the church was actually spotted, so that actually allows Dylan Rex to get through free into the back line, cut down Bink, and that should be the A zone for free, pending you watch the middle of the map here. Phantom's going to be able to spot out 1 to the middle of the map, though, who's playing through L. Bink will take down Dylan, and now all the way from the top, Infinite's going to be able to get another. So 2-2, we go back and forth. Pinstripe kill feed will allow Bay State back over towards the point. Druxy gets cut down. This is a good defensive hold here as they're taking more and more time off the clock from Bay State.
Just look at the teamwork out of Northwood. The way that Fame played that with Bink, it just making sure that they have all angles on watch to have each other's back. Now, if you're Bay State, a lot of resources have been pulled into this A zone to be collected. Rex needs to find his flank. He's only good for 1, and while he does it, his whole team drops. You can see Rex now on an island to go big, is able to find a second. 3 down for Northwood. Bay State, they need to finish A here. 22 seconds left. They can't afford another break.
Dylan did enough to allow the team to get off spawn, get back over towards A, and finally go ahead, capture that A zone. So Infinite tried for a flank, unfortunately wasn't powerful enough to overcome anything else. And now, of course, you look to the side of Bay State, who's going to have to push all the way through their spawn side back across the map to get towards B. Only a minute and 10 to do so. 10 lives remaining. You only have 6 opportunities and then 4 respawns left. It's just going to be a very difficult process. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Unless you shoot like that.
Even, and that's 3 down. So Silly a way to get into the zone. Teammates to follow him. The respawns for Northwood all the way in the back, so they're going to be able to reinforce this right away. You can see the nade spam coming in, dealing some damage, chipping them up, but no, Fame drops the Radial's nade, and that's the second ticked on for Bay State. The third one's going fast. Bink's going to be good for 1. Infinite looking to pitch this one in. The contention's out. 3 go down, make it for Northwood. Wow. They hold on.
Close all the way down. It's not over yet, though. 50 seconds, 4 versus 7. It's going to be difficult, especially with the players of Northwood being able to play so many close angles, like the P5 hill on Tuscan. With Infinite laying down, Bay State, one last push. All they need is a tick of progress or 7 kills to go with it. Time really not of a concern right now. They're just all trying to play together. Around the corner, Infinite's going to be able to find 1. So that's basically the win condition that they had, is just cut as many people down as you possibly can. Allow for Chris Rado to go big on a flank. 1, 2, almost is able to snap around for the third. I thought maybe, just maybe, Chris Rado was going to make me drop my pants again. But Northwood, they'll take the round. They'll tie things up. We're at 1 apiece.
After the Gavatou, I thought he was going to do it. All three right there. Nobody watching Radial. Somebody has to shut him down if you want to take that B zone, but it's a 1-for-1 from Northwood and Bay State to open up this control. Both defenses holding true, although Bay State, they get 2 ticks towards B, something Northwood couldn't even do for 1. So a 5-3 lead in ticks for Bay State in case we go to a round number 5. Back on the attack, Northwood looking for the A zone. Rex chipping down some of these players, but still presence. Radial flies. The trade from Silly. 3 down from Northwood.
Tick of progress comes in. Still contestation over there, but Bink wins another one-on-one gunfight. That's 5 in a row from Bink. Unfortunately, that'll be enough on that streak. We'll get cut down by the hands of Phantoms in the middle of the map. Dylan Rex will find the second. So a 2-to-1 trade. 5-5 off the board so far in terms of the life count. You're over on this B site. Infinite actually goes big. This might allow them to get a first tick of progress over at B. Fortunately enough, though, that splits the sides of defense for Bay State back over towards B.
Radial again.
They don't allow that B cut to go ahead.
On the flank, he finds Droxy. How many times are we going to see this out of him? Well, it won't be anything more. Silly now looking to hold things down. He's doing a great job. Enough time for Rex to hit that flank. 3 go down for Northwood again. 2 ticks towards A. No ticks towards B. 1 minute left, a life disadvantage. Northwood, they need to start stringing some kills together. But again, they find the opening to beat. But look at Droxy this time on the flank.
Able to find one off screen, gets 2. Everybody cut down now off of Northwood, who are trying to make a hero play over towards B. But yet again, that splits the defense for Bay State back over towards an A and B site alike. This should be good for Northwood. They've gotten that first kill there, but as Silly and Druxy prepare for a couple more, they can start pressing the issue up the map again.
Hero plays out of Northwood, or out of Bay State here. Northwood, an opening towards the A zone, hopefully playing for that 3rd tick impression, but it looks like Rex knows Infinite's there. Nice shots out of Infinite. Will be able to keep this player presence towards A for the last tick, but again on the flank this time, Droxy in a position to shut this one down. Oh, Big sniffs him out. That's going to be the A site gone.
Big conversation now is going to be tick progression from both of these teams. Right now, Bay State's got 5. They were able to get 2 ticks of progress over towards the B zone the last offensive try. Northwood, you have to, and I mean have to, get at least 2 ticks here if you want to see defense for round number 5. Silly all the way in the back on the head glitch. Will not let anybody through. Bink is forced to back all the way off to the rest of the teammates. They can start pushing over through P5, but here comes pesky Phantoms yet again around the corner. Going to be able to use the head glitch to the wood to his advantage. Second one around the corner is Bink, but that's the last one there. And player number 4 in Infinite pushing the middle map.
And 2v2 right now into the site, but Infinite is going to overextend this one. See to put the pressure off the respawn. See if he can cut some players off, but everybody on Bay State setting up inside the back of their map, playing patient, allowing Northwood to come to them as they know this B zone is going to be on their minds. Infinite looking to lead the way into the back. You have Phantoms laying prone. Will they be able to read this player? However, Phantoms, he doesn't get read early. He's going to be able to find 1. 3 go down in retaliation. Now Rex, the only one alive, looking to go big. He finds 1, lines up a second, almost finds a 3rd. But now it's Infinite looking to play his life on the B zone.
Once again, though, we're in a situation, low lives for both teams. They're on that B site. Infinite almost able to win a one-on-one gunfight. 5-6. No respawns remaining now for Northwood. On the staircase, Fame isn't able to win the one-on-one. It's a 3-1 trade. And all you have left is player number 3 and Radial in the top. Dylan, hey, how you doing, buddy? We'll see you on the respawn block. Just kidding. No more for you. 2-5. We'll see you in the next round.
No more respawns. No time. Northwood, if you're walking into this next round on defense, you have to be thinking we only have a 1-tick advantage. So Bay State, they're in such a good position to find that last round on defense. If this goes around 5, you only need 2 ticks out of Bay State to cement that. So win conditions set in stone for Bay State. The defensive rounds have been back and forth from either side. You can win it here with an offensive win, but if not, you get those 2 ticks, you cement the defense, and you just keep the pattern going. Heading onto an offense, this team, like I said, they can still win it, and it looks like they want to go to A right away, whereas Northwood, they're going for a 2-2 split.
I don't talk too much about Bink in a general sense, but at 27 and 18, leading the lobby in terms of overall kills. Leading the way for Northwood here. Defensive round needs to be big. And by big, basically don't let them cap anything over on that B point. It's going to seem almost impossible, especially against the Bay State roster that really is starting to found themselves and come to life in map number 3. Druxy's already on that B site too. They're going to be forced to go ahead and split 2-2 off the spawns.
Radial looking to clean up Druxy over B. Shot down the attack, and he does. Infinite's still towards A. You would have hoped to win that one out. Now on an island's going to be Fame and Silly. A nice set nade's going to open up the A zone completely for Bay State's control. Working on that second tick of progression. Only player here to really shut this down is Radial. Who else but Radial on the flank?
And I was here, though. It's a one-on-one for Druxy that's going to be able to win it in the back. So that should be the entirety of the A zone captured. Northwood's going to be forced to wrap back over towards B. And again, as I said, you do not want to let them get a single tick on B, because I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm almost positive that Northwood, if they allow Bay State to get at least one tick of progression over on that B site, they will be forced to play from an offensive side for round number 5.
What was it back in our
if it goes there.
last series? It was back and forth defensive rounds until round number 5 when the offense found it. The B side zone just unbreakable for either team. Radial dancing inside Church, only good for 1. 3-on-3 for Lives to attack this B zone. Phantom's gonna get the leeway here to Bay State. Now looking to pressure out Bink in the back, but Radial's here to the rescue, comes to save Bink's life, and it completely shuts down Bay State's offense to B.
Huge kills yet again from Chris. Up and towards the top of the platform. You know that one is there. Dylan will take the aggressive challenge with the MP40 around the corner, and that's going to continuously dwindle these lives down. Another one on the top, though. Fame wins a one-on-one. Traded out immediately. There's Infinite, though, now pushing into P5. There's still 2 players in the back. The Bay State have yet to go ahead and find, sniff out, and kill. And Phantoms plays it so slowly and perfectly. Almost is able to find Infinite, just switches to the wrong gun at the last second.
Drugs in top. Oh, he knows he's there. Sniffs out Bink. What more can you take? Not a whole lot. Fame and Radial cut down 2. Still alive is Silly in the spawn on 4 in a row, making it 5-6 around the corner. Infinite, though, not going to let him have it. As back and forth trades ring out through the middle of the map, you can see Northwood starting to cool down inside this round, but Bay State, the pressure, it is suffocating to an extent. Lives advantage by 2. Bay State still have that in their favor, but 34 seconds. This needs to be a perfect break if they want to hop on this B zone and collect it.
The last minute has been constant trades between these two teams. Who will find the first 2 to 3 piece? That'll win the game. Chris, able to find one, knows the second one's coming. Druxy's gonna be able to jump up from the top. Silly, Phantom's all gonna be there. Bink has to go big and over the top. Oh my, not again! Bink will take down Phantoms and Silly at the same time!
Bink is
Everybody
just
from
that...
Bay State across the map. What? Bro.
Bink is just that guy right now. Holding the line for Northwood, holding the door to B, and ultimately pushing this to around number 5. Bay State, they're gonna have the defense, but Northwood just keep on holding on. They don't want to give this up so early. They want this to draw out. They want our hearts on the line here, Alex, and man, they are toying with us. Bink is 32-24, and he is having quite the game on Tuscan.
Normally I don't like gatekeeping, but that right there I'm quite okay with.
We make an exception for that.
Oh, that's got to instill some sort of confidence and or momentum. And now as Bink's on number 4 in a row, everybody from Northwood has pushed their way over towards that A site. That first tick of progress is going to be there. Guns are hot. Everybody's hotter on Northwood right now. Will Bay State have the answer here on defense?
We referenced earlier to our match on stream, and it was back and forth defensive rounds until round number 5 when the offense took it in a heroic round 5 offense. And look at this, off the rip, A-zone, gone. Add another minute to the clock. You have Northwood players in your spawn. Bay State, they need to find some level ground.
Nobody's on a flank. Bink's still on 6 in a row. You're looking for that final kill. Streak to go along with it. Oh, Pink, you're not going to be able to get it, though. Silly shuts it down. Fame is there for a trade. You're still going to spawn close over towards that B point. Northwood all the way at that north portion of the map, trying to work their way down back towards B. Through the church, they're going to have to go. Maybe up towards the top of the radio as well. If you're Phantoms, you have a huge one on basically 2 to 3 here.
In the corner, only good for 1. Still, those should slow down Northwood, although Bank a second is going to give him numbers for this B-zone attack. Druxy's going to hide into a corner. You have Silly cleaning things up in your backline, so you know the respawns will be there for Bay State right off the rip. You have presence from Northwood here. Infinite going big for 2. Still collecting this progress, but the early respawns for Bay State just overwhelming the presence on site. Team kill. Druxy. Team kill's going to be there. Oh, Druxy relieves himself. And honestly, he brings this back. He's like, team kill? I get it. But don't worry, I got this.
Infinite, though, still alive inside of the church. Tries to go for a one-on-one gunfight out towards the right side. Druxy will clear the final player out from Northwood. 5 lives up for Northwood. They try to push back over towards the B zone. Silly's going to get a huge kill there. Northwood going to go back to Old Reliable through the north side of the map. Still no ticks of progress on B. They're either going to have to win this through glorified TDM, capping that point all at the same time.
Want a map 4 Bay State. You need to dig deep here. Gonna have to be some back-to-back shutdowns, but look at this play from Northwood. All 4 players through the flank. You can see the pivots from the Bay State area. They are here and they are ready for this attack. Druxy on the front line. Bink opens this one up. Druxy needs to go big. 3 go down. Northwood, they're on B4 off the point. It's time to collect.
2 ticks of progress left. Now it's Bay State's opportunity to attack off spawn. You don't have streaks to work with on Northwood, but here come the guns. Infinite, the first one. Bink is there for number 2. 3 and 4 come from Fame. The entire ticks of progress is there. And guess what? Bay State down. Northwood, clutch up. Final round of the control on Tuscan. That guy, Bink, he's different. He's the gatekeeper. He's the gate lord. He is the reason they win map number 3.
Just take this in as we're looking at the final kill cam from Fame. I mean, Northwood shut down in a map 5 back on Tuesday to this team. The number 1 team versus the number 2 team. And Northwood, they just want to let you all know if they're still in the running for that number 1 spot, it's not as one-sided as you would think it is. You come out tonight, 3-0 sweep. The Bay State Bulldogs punch your ticket to play Davenport in the winners final, and you make it look good. At the same time, I mean, Alex, we were both talking about the series, you know, maybe favoring Bay State to start this one off. For sure favoring Bay State to start this one off after what we saw on Tuesday. But Northwood, they did their homework. They made their adjustments. And, man, this just makes me excited. I love collegiate Call of Duty just because moments like this, they shake up the whole year.
Creates parity, and that's the best thing for collegiate esports in general. Specifically for collegiate Call of Duty, because this means that not only is NACE shooken up completely, everything else now has a rippling domino effect that's going to go outwards and extend further. So, look, say what you will about any of these teams, but that was a statement win for Northwood above anything else. That was a statement. You talk about almost a 100-point win for the hardpoint. You talk about a 6-1 win in the S&D that basically takes what they did in map number 5 and makes it non-existent in the CCL on Tuesday. That's revenge, and that's sweet. That might be the sweetest thing that they've had this season.
If you're Northwood, honestly, that's exactly what you need after that loss on Tuesday. A lot of things starting to come to a close, Alex, in both leagues for collegiate Call of Duty, and a win right there, it just shows God's bleed for Call of Duty. It's for collegiate Call of Duty, and what looked like an impenetrable wall of the Bay State Bulldogs, Northwood, they sharpen their bow and they shoot straight through it, and that was just pure greatness out of a lot of players. You got Radial in map 1, dropping numbers on Gavitu. You got Bink in map 2, not only map 2 but map 3 as well. You got big things coming out of this Northwood squad, not just on a team basis but on an individual basis, to show that they are building themselves up to be the best team here.
So beforehand, it wasn't even a week. What a week of practice does. Like what 3 days of practice does for a team to take on a team like Bay State again. Because I mean, you look back to it. What earlier in the game, I was like, oh, Infinite's doing his best Druxy impression from map 1. All of a sudden, he turns it around, and then he still finished the game negative, but he was a very impactful player and had a very, very large role in some of those late breaks, especially over towards that B side at the end of the game. So. God, this gets me giddy for the rest of the collegiate season of Call of Duty, whether it be here, whether it be the CCL, whether it be varsity, and anything there is. I am excited to watch it because not only do I love Call of Duty and the best level of Call of Duty, but now that I know that there's parity in that every team is vulnerable all the way up to number 1, count me in.
I want to see Ottawa's go at these teams too at some point. I'm excited for when we get those matchups throughout the playoffs. But I mean, you look at a team like Bay State. We had them on the interview. Well, we had Silly on interview after their win back on Wednesday, and Silly, he was talking about it. He said that loss on the Search and Destroy back to ICC, they were trying new things, you know, and those new things, they didn't work, and I was expecting them to, you know, go back to the basics of just a Titan in that search and destroy going into this matchup versus Northwood. You know, you're playing to a team that is pretty much even with you, and it looks like just those changes may have a little domino effect going into this one, and they did not look the same in this matchup today. Bay State, now they need to look at this as a moment of vulnerability. You know, inside of your matchups, you don't only lose to Northwood, but you lose 3-0 to Northwood, a team that almost reverse swept you on Tuesday, now looking to not even give you a chance on Friday. And you're down into the lower bracket to play. Let's talk about it a little bit. You got ICC, Westcliff, you got University of Texas, Austin Longhorns, New Mexico State. You know, these aren't bad teams at all. These are some good teams to watch out for. And this vulnerability in a 3-0 sweep, you have to patch these things up because, you know, a team like ICC, a team like Westcliff, for example, they're going to expose that vulnerable point.
And again, like a lot of teams are looking to capitalize. Like when you play the best teams, you bring your A game to those teams. It's not like, you know, you're run of the mill kind of like a mid-pack team or your mid-pack game. For whatever reason it is, everybody always wants to beat the best. So you're going to be playing at your best when you're going up against what would be considered some of the best teams. So I mean, that's the number 1 and 2 seeds down, Colin. That's UTC down. That's Bay State down. Now the number 1 seed, technically going into the next portion of the playoffs, is going to be Northwood. So it's like you look back and now you look forward and you see the road to get here. Now the road ahead for Bay State, it doesn't look grim because you're only going to be playing from, you know, like losers round 4. But I mean, just think of it this way, right? The way I see it, I think that the only team that could really challenge Bay State in any regard in that losers bracket is going to be ICC. But ICC are going to be having to play their best Call of Duty, and Bay State are going to have to play like they did in the series. It's going to happen.
It's going to have to be great. That just shook everything up now. Northwood, winners final. You know, you got Davenport Panthers to go up against in that series. And you know, Davenport, they've looked good. They're on a hot streak going into that winners final. They haven't dropped a map for themselves throughout their side of the bracket. But now you're going up against a different team. I mean, you just can't compare a team to a Northwood or a Bay State inside collegiate Call of Duty. And you have to question to think if Davenport has what it takes to go up a team who just 3-0'd their rival inside of the winners semifinal here. If you're Davenport University, you're going to have to play your best Call of Duty and beyond. I mean, you have to push past 100%, right into 110, maybe even 120. Just to dial it up against Northwood in that matchup. And I'm not going to count Davenport out. They've surprised me throughout this whole playoff. But like I said, I mean, this is just a different team to what you've been meeting up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, going a step further, let's just talk about just the winners finals between side of Davenport and for Northwood, because they're guaranteed top 3 now. So that again was a match that was for either $1,200, $2,000, or $4,000, depending on where these teams place up at. But now that Northwood has made it to the winners finals, and the same thing can be said for Davenport, both of those teams are at least guaranteed $1,200. Obviously, we don't know who the other team that's going to be guaranteed top 3 is, and or even top 4 for the $800 that's going to come along with placing 4th. However, we at least know are 2 of our 3 top 3 teams. So one of these teams is guaranteed to go to the grand finals. The other one will fall to the lower bracket and have to play probably Bay State, which is scary, especially in the lower bracket where they're going to get hot, start to get a run under their belts, and then be looking for vengeance on a team like Northwood. And hell, maybe even Davenport beats Northwood. Northwood and Bay State have to face off in the lower finals. How crazy would that be? That I don't even want to think about, because that would be... I'd be all here for it.
Well, if anybody can take a double best of 5 off of Northwood, it has to be Bay State when you're looking at a team through that lower best of 5. So the lower run of things. So if that is anybody, you look at Bay State and you think it has to be that squad of 4 to get that job done in the grand finals. But, you know, I'm open to interpretation. I'm open to, you know, changes. I've been surprised nonstop in these playoffs. So don't stop now, guys. Keep it coming. I'm loving it so far. But, Corn, I mean, as the show's closing, we talked about an MVP in that first match. Second match, you know, I feel like it's just right to do it again. And I got to give it to Bink, man. I don't know about you, but, like, Bink was just, like, that guy.
I agree, and like the only other thing that I could say is like maybe Chris, but like just the performance of map 2 of being able to close things out, and then the control performance there at the end, I think is enough to give it to Bink. The only reason I would even slip Chris's name in there is because that map 1 Gavutu performance kickstarted the entire run that they had through 2 and 3, and not even to say that the beginning of the S&D, they were up 3 rounds. Thanks to Chris. And of course Bink too, but like Chris too. So like I feel like you could like joint split that one, but if I had to give it to somebody, it's the closer, it's Bink.
It's just what happens. I mean, Bink, you expect it out of Chris Radial, but it's just Bink is, he's a great player and all, but I don't expect it from a player like Bink to that extent as I would Radial. So that's why I think, I mean, he stepped up today and he did an amazing job. But folks, like I said, coming to a close here for the winter semifinals matchup, and before we close it out, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Ground News. Ground News is home to over 180,000 mindful news readers who use their industry first coverage analysis tool to adopt a balanced news diet. The Ground News community is home to people from across the political spectrum, which is no small feat in an increasingly divided world. And here at NACE Starleague, we want you to be a part of this community too. Check out Ground News online or download the app, available on Google Play and App Store, and go take a gander over at Ground News. It's going to be the end of the stream for now. Corn, it has been a vibe on the desk tonight. Always fantastic having you on stream for some Call of Duty, but you're gonna have to be looking for the rest of the week. And I think Corn's gonna show up again back on Sunday, from what I know. So not gonna be done with him just yet, folks. Tomorrow we're gonna run through the lower side of things here inside the playoff bracket, and you don't want to miss it. We'll see you tomorrow for some more Call of Duty.